Welcome to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
We know we're going to get every opponent's best. That just comes with being at Clemson.
4th down for the ball game.
The last play seemed like it was a scene from a movie.
Incomplete. The Wolfpack with the massive upset.
Still hurts to this day, but we have another chance this week.
The reason I came to see State games like this.
A night game, top 10 matchup. It's going to be like no other.
Oh, no, baby. We love it.
We're a bunch of guys that like proving people wrong. You got to put the ball down and play the game.
Clemson Tigers don't use words like payback and revenge publicly, but you know in the minds of those players to go over to Raleigh and lose that game last year, one of 3 losses. It was a season that left them short of even the division title, Kirk. So it's on their mind that the Wolfpack got them last year, no doubt.
Yeah, this is Clemson team that's excited and fired up. This is part of their tradition. People think they just run down the hill outside of the locker room. This is the all-in bucket. Everybody has a chip. They come out of the locker room, actually load up on buses and work their way around the stadium with a police escort. So you can see these buses. There's the hill that eventually they'll get themselves to, but some people think the locker room's up there at the top of that hill. It is not.
There's the rock that was brought from Death Valley, 1966. Howard's Rock, named for Coach Frank Howard. Tigers will touch that and then sprint down that hill. None of them as fast as their head coach, however. 3 buses, offense on 1. That's usually the quieter, more cerebral bus. The defense has been known a little rowdier.
I just talked with Jake, my other son, who's played at Clemson for 3 years. He said it's actually eerily quiet on the bus, on all the buses. It's just they're kind of building with anticipation to get to that hill.
There is Uiagalelei. A lot asked of him in this offense, and again tonight. It's an important game for his career, for his season. This bus ride ritual began 50 years ago in '72. A player, a walk-on, actually suggested that they do this to get around to the east end of the stadium. But it's weird, Kirk. You've just gotten the pep talk. You've just heard from the coaches, and now you get in the bus and you're riding a cramped short ride. But
it's the only thing I can think of in a country. Usually you get dressed, pep talk, right out of the locker room onto the field. Clemson is very proud of what they have here, and they should. It's a unique tradition, and Dabo Swinney makes it extra special with all the winning he has done here. Yeah, you're loaded up. Here they go. Escort will take them around.
We Will Rock You, appropriately, is being played inside the stadium.
Probably the shortest police escort in history.
They take those 2 right turns. When they make the final turn, they can begin to hear the crowd and the noise in the open end of the stadium. Come around right here onto Williamson Street, and the players, Kirk, say this is when you begin to feel it. You can't help it. Your pulse comes up.
Especially in a game like this, 2 top 10 teams colliding in Death Valley at night. There's an energy in here. Here they come.
That's the new Dabotron, the giant new screen, a wrinkle here. They'll walk right underneath that.
Crowd sees the buses.
Only in college football. Heavyweight fights had their ring walks. CFB has Clemson's grandest entrance in sports. There's a poor trooper that's got to keep up with Dabo. Keep an eye on him. It's a tough assignment. None of these guys have ever known a home loss. 36 in a row wins here for the Tigers. They'll get cued by the cannon. And then the stampede is on.
Dabo is fired up for tonight.
There's nothing quite like this. NC State makes their entrance. A faint orange glow at that far end of the field.
How about Andre, our cameraman, making his way down? That was pretty good effort, holding that camera and not falling down.
Dabo once again wins the sprint. And after all the emotion and the hype and the build-up, as you see Will Shipley, the star running back for the Tigers, you got to manage that adrenaline, right, and the emotion, Kirk, and then just go out and execute. Emotion won't win it.
Motion will be intense early, and as you said, then it's just a matter of execution. But that is a great tradition. What, as you said, makes college football college football.
One of the captains for NC State is Grant Gibson, number 50, their veteran center. Talked to him this week. It's a very emotional trip back. His grandfather, Harvey Gantt, was the first black student at Clemson back in 1963. His grandmother was the second student. So he feels a powerful family history as he walks back on this campus and on this field on the other side of things tonight. His grandparents are Clemson fans, but they're rooting for NC State tonight. Marcus Woods is the referee of this ACC crew.
Great weather for football tonight. This is going to be heads. That's going to be tails. All right, North Carolina State, you're the visiting team. What is your call? Heads. Heads is the call. It's heads. North Carolina State has won the toss and elected to defer the choice second half. You want the ball, which way you want to kick? All right, move your backs that way, move your backs this way.
Devin Leary says we'll defer, and we'll see Uiagalelei, Shipley, and that Tigers offense up first. To the field, and Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Sweeney, your quarterback really grew up, last weekend. How do you want him to perform tonight with all this emotion and excitement and energy around him?
Just channel the emotion into execution. Just one play at a time. Stay focused and do your job.
Devin Leary's a terrific quarterback for the Wolfpack. How has your secondary grown up at practice this week to handle him?
We're going to find out real soon.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, that secondary was torched by Wake Forest, and it's been some teaching moments in the practice field. Colin Smith to kick it away. Shipley at the goal line for the Tigers. Buckle up, this top 10 collision in Death Valley. Shipley will let it go. And so we'll see DJ Uiagalelei, who was really scorched by critics. It was a tough situation last year. He didn't meet his own expectations on or off the field. A lot of things went wrong around him, but improvement in some big areas this year so far.
Yeah, really has shown tremendous mental toughness after what he went through. See the week he had last week, leading his team on the road to a victory against a very talented Wake team. 371 through the air, 5 touchdown passes. They needed every one of them. But again, he's playing a much better, more experienced defense tonight.
Shipley motions out, empty backfield on this opening play. Uiagalelei takes a peek, and then he'll just power forward. Running is a part of his arsenal. Picks up 3 there.
Well, all the years we've been coming in here watching Clemson football, when they get into big games like this, can always bring it up. Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence. It's not just their arms. They've got to be a willing runner. Usually it's 10 to 12, maybe 15 times in these big games you see QB run, making a defense have to commit an extra hat down to account for that running quarterback.
Hand off to Shipley, picks his way and fights down. Looks like they may have grabbed a face mask in there. He's a couple yards short of the marker. Shipley, as a sophomore, had a terrific freshman season, even better start.
Face mask, defense. Continue on pulling his ass into the run. First down.
His head snapped around, you can see it.
And right into the trenches there. Looked like Corey Durden, who had such a great game a year ago against his Clemson offensive line. But a good push, initial push there. This Clemson offensive line that's done a nice job with some new pieces of building some continuity early in this year. I really think Shipley's the key to this offense.
Averages almost 7 yards a carry. Runs with a serious edge. Off the play action. Uiagalelei gets a pass out, and it's caught by Joseph Ngata, who is wide open and goes all the way to the Wolfpack 30. 21 yards.
Just a miscommunication on the left side of the flat. Great job by DJ of recognizing. You see there's no flat defender. A couple different defenders not on the same page. Looked like Jakeem Harris, 6, actually got sucked into the inside. You could see there to the right, 2 defenders on the inside. Nobody had the flat.
Shipley bouncing off tacklers. Saw Ngata. He's a guy that may be ready to step up and finally live up to that amazing physical potential. Here's the impact players.
Yeah, and he's one of the Chick-fil-A impact players because he's finally healthy and he's a big body. Does a good job of adjusting to those 50-50 balls. Will Shipley out on the edge and up the middle. Drake Thomas, a tremendous leader. I think maybe the best trio of linebackers in the ACC, maybe one of the best in the country. And keep an eye on number 10. Tanner Engel can fly. Heat-seeking missile from the back end of this defense.
Uiagalelei backpedals and delivers a throw over the middle. He was trying to find Antonio Williams, the very talented freshman receiver. Isaiah Moore got there in a hurry.
Yeah, well, he's blitzing. See him right up the middle. They're putting one too many. Good job by DJ of just kind of buying a little time, pulling himself back away. Watch this pressure. Moore gets clean. Thomas gets in. He knew he's going to get hit. He just kind of drew that defense to him, and with his size is able to go up and over and almost connects.
If State's going to win, number 1's going to have a big night. He's the heartbeat of the defense. He's the communicator back there. Run stopper, rushes the passer. 3rd and 5. Third was a nightmare for Clemson a year ago in the loss to NC State. But this completion's for a first down. That's Williams who moves the sticks inside the 20.
Good job on 3rd down. Front 2 receivers go downfield. And then you'll see the young receiver, the freshman, Antonio Williams, just kind of use him, get underneath that coverage, and knowing exactly where he needs to go to be able to pick up that first down before Fagan can get to him. Good, well-designed play there by Clemson on 3rd down.
Receivers bunched to the right. Uiagalelei looks into the seam, and he finds that big 6'6" tight end, Jake Brenningstool. They use him and Davis Allen regularly in this offense.
Brenningstool is a heck of a prospect out of Nashville. Went to Ravenwood High School. Great high school player. Really came in more built like a receiver. Has put on 15 to 20 pounds of muscle. Starting to really look like a guy that can be a force, becoming a better blocker. And as we see, a tremendous receiver in the middle of the defense.
2 tight end look on this first down. Shipley into heavy traffic. And it's a very short gain. Davin Vann and Peyton Wilson filling for the linebacker spot.
It was really just a defensive line eating up those offensive linemen, which in this 3-3-5 stack, that's their job. Occasionally they'll slip an edge and get into the backfield, but usually they're going to try to eat those linemen up, then free that talented group of linebackers to get downhill. Another third down here.
Get a first down at the 6.
DJ gets the look that he wants, looks over and gets the call from the sideline here on 3rd and 1.
Shipley spinning for a first down. He wanted to score. Saving the touchdown was Derek Pitts, but his 1st and goal.
Davis Allen and Jordan McFadden on the left side. They just collapse that defensive line. He's reading the end man. Boy, Shipley wants just one more chance to get that leg up and through that tackler, and he's into the end zone. But they do pick up the first down. Really good job with Davis Allen and the leader of that offensive line, Jordan McFadden on the left side, just completely taking that defensive line's edge away.
Clemson, you saw, has been really efficient in the red zone. This is the best defense they've faced, but perfect in terms of points down here. Quarterback run all the way. He's going to be hit behind the line, knocked down by Cyrus Fagan. The safety came flying across the line.
That is a good job by this defense. Watch these guys fly to the football. Recognize that this quarterback's a threat. He's just going to use Shipley as a lead blocker. They take up all those blocks, and there's an extra man, extra hat. There's a progressive pylon cam to give you a really good view there. That's an attacking defense getting down here with their backs up against the wall here.
That pylon cam gave you a look at what it's like down there in the pit near the goal line, man.
Tough to run the ball in against this group.
I'll try to run it again with Shipley, but again, smothered. Very short gain. It'll be 3rd and goal. Corey Durden got him down that time along with Pitts.
You mentioned it. Durden is really good. Durden had that big game last week. I talked about how they eat offensive linemen up. And this time he's able to get off that block and into the backfield. They're going to have to throw the ball to get this in.
Well, they got the 3 receivers bunched to the left. And Ngata's off to the right. Uiagalelei thinks about running, and he's not going to get there. Slam 3 yards short of the goal line. Wilson again, and Isaiah Moore met him.
Chris, I was thinking what you were thinking. Ngata is so dangerous in this situation to the fade, but the safety takes that away. And because he takes that away, you're forced to see he wants to look, and instead he comes back to the backside. Everything's covered, and look how they spied him. They're anticipating that when it's not there, he'll pull it down. 12 plays, 72 yards, and that is a great drive, but a heck of a job by NC State's defense of holding them out of the end zone.
So a chip shot attempt from B.T. Potter, and took his COVID redshirt, came back for another year. Very reliable kicker, and he knocks it through. 9 of the last 10 games, Clemson scores points to their opening possession, but they're hoping for more than 3. We'll see the Wolfpack on offense after this. Huge win for NC State. Had a chance to win it in regulation. Dunn missed his 3rd field goal of the day. They go to double overtime. Watch the snag made here. Devin Carter, ace receiver, and then this. Incomplete, and the Wolfpack storm the field. Dave Doeren has a victory cigar and a red Solo cup after the game, and it was a big night in Raleigh.
It was a big night. And really a game-changing moment for Dave Doeren to get people to believe in what he's doing in Raleigh.
Jordan Houston, their running back, who's back healthy tonight, takes the kick return and gets out to the 20. So we talked about Devin Leary. He's an excellent decision maker in the RPO offense. They do rely a lot on the play action, the screen game tonight. They need to run the ball for him.
Yeah, they're going to run the ball. You're going to see, like a lot of teams in college football, the RPO, play action. It's a mixed bag. Most importantly, he's making his 25th start. He's been through a lot of battles, some good and some bad, but I think all that experience gives him and his teammates, most especially, belief that they can handle this atmosphere and move the ball tonight consistently against this defense. And
on the first play, fighting forward for a short gain is Jordan Houston. Chick-fil-A Impact players from the Wolfpack have the football, Kirk.
They have got to be able to run the football. Thayer Thomas on the outside. You'll see him in the slot. Grant Gibson, I put him up there. I love to put linemen up there. Fourth-year starter. In this crowd, you need a center that can communicate. Barrett Carter, watch how he runs at linebacker, a young man that's really stepped up. And then Andrew Mukuba also, safety corner.
There he checks it down, and one of the many screens you'll see tonight with the Tigers defense all over it. Swarming was Tyler Davis from his interior line position.
This is called doing your homework, whether it's the formation, whether it's the down and distance. KJ Henry and Tyler Davis. Watch 13 and 5. They're running out there before he even threw the ball. Good pressure there by Trent Simpson, but 5 and 13 dialed in on that screen into the boundary on 2nd and long.
Not optimal. 3rd and 11 against this crowd noise in first possession. And a flag, you can practice against it. You can pump in the crowd noise. It's never quite the same. And a false start.
False start. Offense, number 74. Foul penalty, 3rd down.
That's the guys you worry about, are the tackles. They're out on the edge, especially early in the game when the crowd is really a factor. He's just leaning back, trying to get a jump there before Miles Murphy, a very, very talented defensive end, can get around him.
Tigers rush 4, but they get to him. Leary gets a clutch throw away to Thayer Thomas, his most trusted target, and they move the sticks on 3rd and 16.
And how about KJ Henry over here? Watch the inside move directly to the quarterback. Put his foot in the ground, goes right by him, and that's experience, waiting to the last possible second. What a throw by Leary. Knows he can see it in his peripheral vision. He's going to get hit, but makes a great throw to a veteran in Thayer Thomas, who's got great route ability and incredible hands.
Houston, you talk about a quarterback who's got grit and how the team feeds off that, and that's an example of grit on the field right there.
And we'll see what happens on this drive. That, to me, with the crowd early in the game, 3rd and 15, I'm going to put a little star next to that completion and throw and conversion, because that settles this crowd down, gets you away from your old goal line, and all of a sudden this offense can find a little bit of rhythm. Then they pick up nice yards there on 1st and 10.
5 receiver, empty backfield. Leary wanted to get the ball out quickly. Nobody was there and just has to throw it away. 3rd down again.
That was looked like a miscommunication with Leary. That's an area that right now they've really struggled with. Lassane Jr., who's into the boundary. You know, Leary is supposed to put up these huge numbers, and other than Thayer Thomas and Devin Carter, everybody else around him really playing for the first time, and he's just been off here or there. Not so much Leary, but finding that rhythm with some of these new receivers and getting on the same page.
Thomas this time slot right, and they look that direction and find on the slant there Devin Carter. So they got Thomas in the slot. Carter's the big guy on the edge.
Watch Jordan Houston. Watch Houston pick this blitz up right here. He steps in. That gives him a chance to be able to pick this just enough time on 3rd down. Clemson dials up the pressure. A young quarterback watching this. Look how he just sits in the pocket. Trusted his receiver's going to run the right route. Trusted his running back's going to pick up the blitz. Not panicking, not backing out, just sitting in there and making an accurate throw on 3rd down.
Yeah, 2 for 2 on 3rd down. Demi Sumo Karnbay spells Houston as the back. He's got it running to the right. Big collision, and he's knocked down in Tiger territory after a short gain by Jeremiah Trotter.
Notice they're trying to work in. They'll want to work inside and outside, running and throwing, but the area that everybody wants to really see, now that James Skowski has moved on, they want to see these linebackers who, Dabo told us yesterday, Simpson, Trotter, and Carter might be the most athletic trio that he's had, and I don't doubt that. I'm just saying the experience and knowledge in the middle of that defense isn't there, and I think you'll see them try to test that, especially through the air tonight.
2nd and 9 in the flat. Thomas shakes a tackle and is going to make something of nothing. He got about 3. Forced out by R.J. Mickens. Third down again now.
There's one of those linebackers right there, Barrett Carter. Good job of getting off that block. Almost made the tackle for about a 3 or 4 yard loss.
How good is number 0?
I don't know. Dabo's had a lot of big-time players come through here, and you bring up number 0, and his eyes lit up, talking about how this guy literally, he could play anywhere on our defense. So talented.
Does Leary have another clutch throw in him on this 3rd and long?
And Chris, you see him, they walk him out here. He'll play inside. They'll walk him out to slot receivers. They'll blitz him. Just very versatile.
Leary stands in again, buys time, takes off. Can he get there with his legs? Spun out near the marker at the 40 by Trenton Simpson. Let's see where the spot is. Just a bit short, looks like. So it'll be 4th down.
They kind of tried to trap him. They show blitz with the backers, but watch as this play unfolds. They're both protecting here and here on the potential of the quarterback leaving the pocket. They think they have him, but they get caught up to the inside there. Simpson kind of eyes got into the backfield, led him out of the back into the pocket there. And even with Simpson's speed, he's very, very close. That's the only reason he's able to push him out.
Offense on the field. We need about a half yard here. Leary sneaks it and makes it. Pretty easy call for Dave Doeren. He's aggressive by nature, but definitely believes in the guys up front.
Yeah, and Dave Doeren has that aggressive mindset. Defensive coach, came up through the ranks. Great defensive mind, and done such a heck of a job of building stability in Raleigh as a head coach. Has made some great hires. Tim Beck now here as his offensive coordinator, and he's going to come in. He knows to win here, he's got to be aggressive with decision making, things of that nature on 4th and short.
The throw on 1st down, launches downfield. That's Carter who's got it, and he's got a 1st and goal. A beautiful looping throw. They beat the safety Mukaba.
But the safety in the back is late coming over. I want you to keep an eye on him. I think he has to respect the inside. You see his body turn, and watch him right here get caught up. Eyes kind of to the inside, and it makes him late to the outside. Just caught up too much. It was R.J. Mickens looking to the inside towards 5 there. Thomas gave him a nice hold to the outside, and with that safety on the hash, you should never be able to complete that.
Pop pass. Thomas is going to be swarmed and knocked down by K.J. Henry behind the line. They were ready for that wrinkle.
K.J. Henry is off to a great start this year now that he's finally healthy. Near side, sheds that block right into the backfield. Again, I think that's just a miscommunication. There's no way you're going to bump K.J. Henry on the edge and work to that next linebacker upfield. You got to secure the edge before you let 5 make that play.
He's a great pass rusher. The question is, can he be physical enough on the edge against the run? He was that time. Well, the Wolfpack defense bowed up in the red zone. Let's see if Clemson's can do the same. Houston in the backfield. Got the football. Tried to make a cut. Early penetration there by Simpson. And it's going to be 3rd and goal.
Well, those safeties are spread all over just really wide on that last play. You got to believe that Tim Beck and his offensive staff, if they get that look again, you get Thayer Thomas, a really talented slot receiver, work on a seam route right to the middle. Will have a chance if they get that look again.
Thayer in the slot, Carter on the edge on the right side. On 3rd down, Leary's going to take off, tries to dance, and he'll just power down inside the 4, but not going to get there. And both defenses rise up inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, they rush 3, drop 8. It's quarterback draw. I mean, he's going to have linemen releasing downfield. I think they knew that it was going to be a rush 3, drop 8. You see he's following a running back. He's got a couple linemen downfield. So 2 pretty good drives. This one, a 14-play drive. We saw Clemson go on a 9-play drive, eating most of this first quarter, but neither one able to punch it in.
Career scoring leader for NC State is Christopher Dunn. He called the loss, or the win, excuse me, it was a win, but he felt like it was a loss last year when he missed 3 field goals. His low point, but his starting point. So he rededicated himself in lots of ways this season. Puts 3 on the board. Chewed up almost the entire first quarter. 2 long marches.
Saturday Night Football on ABC is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Great Philip Rivers was the Wolfpack quarterback the last time they won at Death Valley 20 years ago. 95 touchdown passes in his career. Russell Wilson in a 3-year career had 76. So Leary is closing in on Mike Glennon for number 3. Has a chance to chase down Wilson.
Was that on a Thursday night that ups the NC State winning? Here, I may have been.
I don't think I was here for that one in 02.
No, I think Tariq and I might have called that. Chuck Amato, I think.
Oh yeah, it was a rout.
Yeah.
An emphatic statement for Coach Chest. Shipley will give it a go from the goal line. Looking for a crease. Shipley can fly. Flags down as he's dragged down at the 35. That's one of those get out of your seat moments because number 1 is electric. Raheem Ashford made the tackle. A couple of flags down.
Doing the return, holding, receiving team number 11. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Sage Ennis on that return team flagged. Get a look at it here.
Yeah, he just locks up, grabs onto that jersey, negates that big return.
High stakes in Sunday Night Baseball in Atlanta. The Mets and Braves have battled all season long in the NL East. A flat-footed tie. It's the last meeting of the regular season. The winner of the division doesn't have to play in that wild card. So a lot on the line. Ball game at 7 on ESPN and on the app.
Mets just trying to get 1 of 3. Up 1-0 in the 4th. Bear.
Thank you, Bear. Penalty on that return moves the ball back to the 12 here. Second possession for the Tigers. And quarterback keeper gave him some eye candy to look at. It fools some of the defenders, but not Peyton Wilson, who makes the tackle. What's going to be the final play of a first quarter that featured 2 long drives, 1 for each team, each resulting in a field goal. End of the first quarter at Death Valley, 3 apiece. Back after this message and a word from your local ABC station. Beautiful scene set for the second quarter. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Capital One. Both quarterbacks have been sharp. Both defenses have risen up inside the 10-yard line. Pair of field goals. And we begin with Clemson pinned back at their 10-yard line. A 2nd and 9 play here. This time it's a home team with a flinch pre-snap.
False start. Offense number 9. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's Brenningstool, the tight end.
Well, this game got off to such a fast start, not just for our viewers and you and I, but most importantly for these players. It's almost like you got to recharge that energy and battery a little bit after the long delay, after the 2 long drives.
Delayed handoff to Shipley, who slips 1 tackle, 2 tackles, cuts back. He is hard to get to the ground. Physically impressive, but it's just his will, his toughness, right?
He's different this year than he was last year as a freshman, and that's obvious. Look at his legs. Look how live his legs are. Shakes that linebacker, shakes another linebacker, a safety. He's a powerful runner, known really for his quickness out of Weddington High School in North Carolina. But 5'11", 205 has gotten thicker, involved in the passing game. Kind of like what Travis Etienne brought to the table. He's bringing that now to this Clemson offense.
They've contained him so far, just 19 yards on his 6 carries. And on 3rd and 10, Uiagalelei hit as he throws, and not even the big, strong guy could get that throw away. Jakeen Harris, the nickelback, came and got him. It's 4th down.
Yeah, he was cheating. He was over Davis Allen, showing man-to-man. He's right here. Really good job of waiting, hiding, and then coming at the last second and gets right by Shipley. Nobody picks him up. Shipley probably should have recognized that and picked up that blitz. Instead, he slipped by him with that late blitz, and they get Clemson off the field.
Aiden Swanson, first-year punter, the lefty in his own end zone, gets it away. It's a low kick, and Thomas probably had some room, but he waves fair catch, takes the sure way. Excellent field position for the Wolfpack at about the 48. Holly?
Well, that first drive we saw NC State move the ball on this Clemson defense, and they are without a significant amount of guys tonight who have contributed for this team. They are without their starting corner, Sheridan Jones, who is still experiencing effects of a stinger. Malcolm Green is out. Xavier Thomas, they hope to get back next week. And then Brian Brzee. This is a big deal because Sheridan Jones being out at corner means Andrew Makuba, their safety, has moved there just this week in practice. He has repped there before, but he's also overcoming a dislocated elbow, and he has got to do a little bit better job out there so far.
He's got that big brace on that right elbow, Holly.
We'll talk about Xavier Thomas, but Brian Brzee is the headliner. He has an infection. They noticed something on blood work. He feels fine. They expect to work him back into practice next week and be ready perhaps for the game against Boston College. But it's just been a hellish week for the Brzee family. 15-year-old sister Ella taken by brain cancer September 15th. She's been a part of the team. The team has rallied around in support of Brzee, but on top of that now, concern over Brian's status. He's in his jersey on the sidelines tonight. On 2nd and 9, Leary zips it incomplete. Tried to find Porter Rooks on the slant. It'll be 3rd and 9. There you see Brian.
Good to see him down there involved with his team. As you said, Chris, it's been a tough few weeks for the entire family, the Brzee family. They were out at College game day today, and I think they've been very appreciative of the team and really the entire community putting their arms around the family.
Ball batted down. KJ Henry got there in a hurry, got a hand up, and the Tigers get a stop. NC State had great field position, couldn't do anything with it.
How about they move KJ Henry almost in that middle linebacker spot? They're just trying to create matchups and get the length into the middle of that defense. Murphy also 98 works around the edge, but it was Henry. Put him basically on the same side. Usually they're on opposite edges. That time big number 5 at 6'4". Climbs the ladder to knock that ball away because the slot there, Thomas, was open for the first down, which is where that ball was going.
Shane McDonough, the well-traveled punter, went from Marshall to Towson, now here at NC State. Kicks it high, and Will Taylor will make the fair catch at the 11-yard line. So good start for both defenses here. Tigers back to work 3 apiece.
Kevin Agani with our Dr. Pepper Fansville studio update. The #1 team in the nation, Georgia, facing its largest deficit of the season at Mizzou. Brady Cook extending the play, finding Dominic Lovett down the sidelines. Big play that would set up this. Cook to Tyler Stevens. Look at the hands from the tight end, holding on. Mizzou up 10-0 in the second quarter over on the SEC network. Back to Chris Kirk and Holly.
And off inside, that Wolfpack defense has been so strong. They've hit him behind the line 5 times on running plays. And backs can't get going.
That's a great stat, and it really goes to show you what their scheme is about. Like you see around the country, here's a good look at Tony Gibson, their defensive coordinator. They have adopted that 3-3-5 over the course of the the COVID year in 2020 is where they fully committed to it. So it's their 3rd year. And you know how it is. You see Iowa State, you see everybody really borrowing it and adapting to it. It's an aggressive, downhill, get into the backfield kind of defense.
Will Maffa in there, and Phil sends a block as Uiagalelei just rolls downhill for a first down.
Yeah, that's the difference right now, I think, with Clemson's offense is you can run the big guy, you get the back in front, Maffa, and now you got a double team, you pull around the tackle, and you outnumber them on the play side. See, they didn't do this last year because 5 was bigger and not really interested in running. And I keep going back to all these years, Clemson's been great. Had a lot of guys that go to the NFL, but the quarterback running has always been an aspect of it.
High snap off his hands, and Uiagalelei just has to dive on it, takes the safe approach back at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, he's not even looking at that, Chris. He's looking right at the freshman, Antonio Williams, who he's kind of signifying to go into motion. Watch his eyes. He's looking over to the right. By the time he looks back, the ball's in his air. Will Putnam snaps it. I mean, he was lucky that ball hit him in the face. If that would have been over one of his shoulders, things rolling all the way back close to the goal line.
As it is, a 10-yard loss. Been a solid start in the first 4 games for this Clemson offensive line. They're struggling now with this NC State front. Maffa is going to be wrestled down again. The NC State defense gets right at the line of scrimmage and hits him. It's Isaiah Moore.
Again, what are they built to do? Free these guys up to be able to get downfield. Watch the left guard get to the outside. Now there's nobody there. You got the outside pressure from the linebacker, Drake Thomas, frees up Isaiah Moore. Nobody picks him up. You mentioned how they have tackles in the backfield. That's why.
3rd and 20. Wolfpack showing a 3-man rush, and they will drop 8 into coverage. Uiagalelei across the middle, complete, but far short of the first down is Adam Randall, the true freshman. They gave him that completion, and they'll get off the field.
I thought you might see a 2nd and 20 call like that, but maybe a little bit more conservative, backed up. They're starting to go backwards, but they wait till 3rd and 20, and they open up the middle of that defense with some underneath routes. There's that arm strength by the big man. He can throw it in and spin it with anybody. But they are short to the first down. So
that snap by Putnam really kind of wrecks the drive.
That's right.
Thomas standing at his 25 to receive the punt.
Look at this. There's confusion right now with NC State.
Swanson, a ugly low boot, almost looked like it was partially blocked. There was a couple of flags down, and this punt will roll dead at the 32.
He got hit or run into right as he punted the ball. Like Colby Johnson, the linebacker.
Running into the kicker. Receiving team number 43. 5-yard penalty results in the first down.
So 5 yards is enough. It wasn't an automatic first down, but they'll move the football now near the 40.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a critical error. I don't know how much he touched his legs. Pretty good acting job there. I mean, he's nowhere close to blocking it, but his face mask and helmet. Bill, what do you think there, babe? What do you think of that one?
I'm supporting the call. I think it's a good call for running into the kicker.
Okay, even though it wasn't aggressive or
it wasn't aggressive, but that's what just displacing is about.
Okay.
That's why it's not 15.
Okay.
Punter is so vulnerable in that position with one leg up in the air, the other planted. So a mistake by the Wolfpack special teams gives new life to this Clemson offense. Shipley as a receiver. Throw was slightly behind him. He had to come back and get it, and he's knocked down after a 1-yard gain.
It's a good job keeping the edge of the defense there by this secondary. Like battle that time. Great length, a good speed, and they know they've drilled all week. Shipley, not just between the tackles, but you have to keep an eye on him working to the perimeter.
Hasn't been able to get going. Shipley's the guy that scored a touchdown in 7 consecutive games. Comes off back-to-back 100-yard games. They've been all over number 1 so far. 2nd and 9. Ball comes out. Short completion. Immediate hit. Hit at the 40-yard line.
They're just sitting back playing zone, Chris, and just eyes on the football. They're rushing the 3, dropping 8. Clemson, good job of just trying to find that void in the zone, the soft spot, but you can see how they're rallying to the ball. They want to make DJ Uiagalelei read coverage, not give him those one-on-one shots against man coverage. Make him have to make the read and make the right throw.
It's great. Thomas Ahmed, the brother of Thayer, Kobe Pace takes his turn to the backfield. Trying to pick up the blitz is Uyunglele lobs it downfield. But they take a lot of downfield shots. They make some catches. They get pass interference. Didn't get that one. Pitts was covering Ngata.
Look at Gibson, a defensive coordinator. Their flag is down.
Pass interference. Defense, number 10. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
There goes a flag dropped on the far sideline. Didn't see it right against the paint.
He calls it on 10, who never touched anybody. I'm thinking it's got to be on Pitts with that left arm into the chest there of Ngata. This is Clemson's, a lot of their offense. Wake Forest could tell you about it. The 50-50 ball, Ngata and Bo Collins adjusting to the ball. And that's what they throw quite a bit of.
Uyunglele lofting it over the head. He had Bo Collins open, streaking down the near sidelines.
Really good call here because they're able to send a receiver deep down the right sideline, which takes a safety with him. You see this man streaking. He's acting like he's blocking for this potential, and then he releases.
Second and 10, slant. Another short completion and a quick hit. Antonio Williams makes the catch. It'll be third down, about 6.
Dave Dorn and Tony Gibson doing a pretty good job of mixing up their coverages. They want to challenge DJ Uyunglele, who everybody's saying how much he's improved, and he has, but make him read post snap. Sometimes rush 3, drop 8, sometimes play man on one side, zone on the other. Give him as many looks as you can. Try to force him eventually into a mistake where he throws the ball into coverage.
Pace is the back on 3rd and 6. 3 receivers off to the quarterback's right. He's looking that direction and delivers underneath. Catch is made by Brenningstool, the tight end, and it's a first down inside the 30. His second catch tonight.
Again, zone. Watch Isaiah Moore trying to kind of get lost here with the crosser. Well, they're moving so fast, hard to give you a replay.
A little too fast, maybe.
False start.
You're right.
Offense number 78. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's Blake Miller. He's a very talented freshman right tackle. High hopes for him. They talk about Mitch Hyatt, who was a day one starter as a tackle.
Right, exactly. But it's a great example, Chris. Watch Moore. He passes over the one receiver, but gets caught in that. And because you play zone, linebackers got to let that pass hit him and then keep his eyes in the backfield. He kind of stumbled with the underneath route with Antonio Williams, gave him an opening.
5 receiver look on 1st and 15. It's a bubble screen. And again, not much after the catch. It was E.J. Williams quickly drawing a crowd at the 30.
Chris, you talked about that freshman Blake Miller. You saw Dabo getting fired up. They actually took him out. So you're still, even though he's a freshman out of Strongsville, Ohio, they said he was turnkey, one of the strongest guys on a team. Make a mistake, you go out.
It's back in now.
He comes right back into the game.
You say he might be the meanest of the offensive linemen.
And beautiful.
I love that. There as a freshman.
Yeah.
You can hear the pads popping. This NC State defense, Kirk, they're not fearing the shots. Durden and others are coming downhill hard here.
No, and when you have experience and you have misdirection in the backfield, it's easy for younger players to follow that jet sweep or follow DJ running around the right side. But you see the pullers, there's experience to know, rally to that football. Usually those pullers are going to take it to you unless it's a boot or a naked.
Another 3rd and long for DJ. They need 11 here. Hit as he throws, delivers across the middle. Just couldn't connect with Williams, who was running free. But heavy pressure from Davin Vann.
Remember, they've been rushing 3, dropping 8. This time they show pressure. He drops, but they do bring pressure right here. So they're just mixing up those 3rd down looks. And this time, just up front, you mentioned Vann able to get there, and that pressure forced DJ to throw it just before he wanted to and affected the timing, or he had a touchdown there. Looked like Williams had his man beat.
Absolutely. So here comes Potter. 20-yard chip shot before this for 46 yards. And Potter, who is NFL-like in his ability to just knock him through from 46, 50, 52. That was Sweeney glad that he came back for another year. Tigers back on top. Zooming over the sea of orange is the AT&T 5G Skycam. Check out the AT&T 5G Skycast streaming on ESPN3 and the app. Chris Felica, the Bear, in his den. I think it made a good day for your picks, maybe, was it, Bear?
Oh, yeah. It was. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
But tonight's halftime trivia question. With the win tonight, NC State could crack the top 5 in the AP poll next week. The halftime trivia question, of course, who was NC State's quarterback the last time the Wolfpack were ranked in the AP top 5?
We know it wasn't Phillip Rivers. They got in the top 10 with him, but it didn't get to the top 5, I don't think.
Okay.
It was that team you talked about with the motto that beat Clemson.
Russell never had any teams that were up there.
You have to go back pre him.
Daggone.
Think about that. He went to the way back tonight.
Yeah, he did. It's not cool.
We'll be back. Once again, student sections around the country in competition for the Taco Bell Live Más Student Section of the Year contest. 36 straight wins. None of these folks have experienced a home loss. Chris Felica, I'm going to guess, because I don't think you'd make it like Joe Szymanski. I'm going to say like it's got to be Roman Gabriel maybe back in the early 60s.
Well, you are in the right era. We asked you for tonight's halftime trivia question. Who was NC State's quarterback the last time the Wolfpack finished in the AP top 5? Got to go back to 1967. And the quarterback was a man by the name of Jim Donnan. Wolfpack actually went to the Liberty Bowl that year in Georgia, where Donnan would eventually coach.
Jimmy Donnan.
Jimmy D can play ball.
Yes.
Pitch out on the edge there. Keon Lesane. We like that question. We approve.
I love
Jim Donnan.
Oh, look at him.
He's handed the ball off. I don't know if that was a clue as to their offense back in the day.
He's going to text me in a second. I'm going to give him a lot of credit. I didn't realize, Barrett, you learned something. I just think, of course, Coach Donnan is a great coach, a coordinator and head coach. I didn't know he was getting it done. Had the Wolfpack in the top 5.
Of course, the Wolfpack playing in their first ever top 10 versus top 10 showdown here tonight. 2nd and 10. They fake it to Houston. Long throw. And trying to break 3 and make a move is Lesane again. He's tackled at the 31. It'll be 3rd down coming up. Holly?
Guys, a significant development on this Clemson defense. Number 54, Jeremiah Trotter, went out a couple of series ago, went into the injury tent, and he is not out on the field right now. Number 30, Keith McGuire, is in his place. And why this is a big deal, he makes all the calls. He's the guy that communicates. He's the best linebacker right now. I will definitely ask Dabo at the half what his status is.
Holly, you also see more of their 4-2-5 by just keeping Simpson and Carter in, bringing in that 5th defensive back.
The previous play is under review for targeting.
Let's take a look on the hit right there against Lesane. Holly's right, though. Trotter would be a significant loss if he can't come back. Of course, his dad, Jeremiah Trotter, played 12 years in the NFL, 4-time Pro Bowler. He wears his dad's number 54.
I think this targeting isn't on Carter, but Makuba right there. I mean, you had a lot of orange jerseys coming in there to try to make a hit. You can see McGuire, who Holly just talked about, but I think it's one lowering the head potentially there, Bill.
He does lower the helmet. There's no question. The judgment will be forcible contact. I'd like him to pass on this one.
It's tough, Bill. The receiver's moving his head around a lot. Watch Lesane. He's moving, so it's tough to know as a tackler where that helmet's going to be.
You're responsible, though, for hitting him anywhere. So it doesn't matter if he's moving.
Bill, I
just don't see it as forcible enough.
That's not forcible? I mean, it looked like it was a jarring hit. I mean, that was, I thought, what the rule was about. I mean, I hope he's not taken out of the game, but.
After further review, personal foul, targeting, defense.
Yeah, I thought if that's not forcible, I don't know what forcible is, just from my standpoint, because you lower that helmet, you could see his body bounce back That was what I thought. All these issues and debates about targeting. Watch his body react to that. That's what you're trying to avoid. Not so much the ball carrier, but the would-be tackler.
Tom Zamorski, the replay official, backs up that opinion, and so that is a huge loss.
Significant.
Ubo, the safety, is out already, very thin. The secondary, the unit that was so beleaguered.
Yeah, now you're going to Toriano Pride. You've got a true freshman to Leary's left at the bottom.
Short completion. Right back to Keon Lassane, has been the feature receiver in this drive. He's near the sticks at the 44. It'll be a first down.
I just talked about it. They went to a true freshman right here. They're going to test him. First play. Leary's a veteran. He knows what he's looking for in their RPO game. He wasn't necessarily beaten, but he wasn't in position from a leverage standpoint, so he sneaks it in there for a quick throw and a first down. But they're going to go at him.
Houston's got the ball, makes a cut, and is hit at the 40. Keon Lassane, the guy that had 9 catches in the first 3 games. Suddenly in this drive, he's caught 3 balls.
I mean, you're looking at a secondary right now with Pride as a true freshman who's very talented but just young. And you've got Nate Wiggins, 20 in the game, who struggled mightily last week against Wake Forest's receivers. And that's what they're down to. They're not going to be subbing in and out. They're playing tonight.
Leary on the move, finds a man. It's Thomas out of the slot. They lost track of him, and it's a big gain down inside the 25 before Wiggins was able to force him out.
He gets lost in the traffic here. He's lined up right here with the 3 receivers, works underneath. Watch the defense. They're not quite on the same page. You got a backup middle linebacker with Trotter out. McGuire 30 was looking around with his head trying to get on the same page with everybody else. So you got a lot of youth and inexperience that didn't rep with the ones. You hope they listen as the backup when they were getting their reps, because they're on the field right now trying to stop Devin Leary.
And back it's to Marcus Jones. He's going to throw it. He wanted to anyway. Now he lofts it into traffic, and it's almost intercepted. Wiggins was defending there. That was not how they drew it up. Tim Beck loves his trick plays. That one didn't work.
No, you try to get the secondary to bite up. Good job by Wiggins of staying back. You see him in the background there, 20. He's all over it and almost, look at
this throw, Kurt.
What a poor decision.
Comes out sideways.
And he gets hit by Tyler Davis as he throws it. So Tim Beck, offensive coordinator, rolls the dice and it almost backfires.
You don't want a non-quarterback feeling a pass rush and having to make a throw. That's not a good thing. There he's used to the pass rush, and he rolls away from it and delivers a little dart on the sideline, and the catch is made over there by Christopher Tootle, the tight end. Short gain, and now it'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, I want to be real clear on Nate Wiggins. 6'2", 185 out of Atlanta, went to Westlake High School. Abundance of talent. I mean, he's really, really got a bright future. He's just a young, at times immature player, but he holds his own from a physical standpoint. But he's got to make plays. He's got to grow up tonight. But he's more than capable physically and athletically of being out there. We'll just see how he holds up along with Pride on the other side, the true freshman.
They got called for pass interference. Didn't like the call. Totally lost his head in the game. Lost his cool.
He did.
In that game. And they hope he's learned from that.
They're going to take a look at this to review to see if the tight end Tootle caught this. It's about a 2-yard gain. Looking at that foot.
See if that toe hit the paint. It is very close, right?
What about the right foot? I think he had possession with that right foot. The left foot's out of bounds.
You think?
I think the right, it looked like it was right on the line. Watch the right foot. It's almost irrelevant. If he catches the ball and the right foot's down, the left foot doesn't matter.
I think the left might have been in anyway, but you're right. The right foot gave him possession in bounds. Thankfully, it's a short review. Just had to make sure.
Well, if you're Devin Leary, get that ball out of your hands quickly because of what KJ Henry's been able to do, and you're dialing up one of these corners. You got veteran receivers in Devin Carter, 88, Thayer Thomas in the slot, 5. They've got to be able to win. Both of them are up on the right side of Leary.
Leary looking over the middle, delivers a strike right down the seam, and it's flagged. It was broken up there by R.J. Mickens, but may have wrapped his hand around the receiver.
Well, nobody had a better view of it than the official.
Defense number 9.
Porter Rooks, the receiver.
Yeah, Porter Rooks goes right down the middle of that defense. Safety moves up, creates the one-on-one. I mean, the left hand touched the shoulder. Maybe pull.
I don't know.
I don't know. Bill, did he pull that shoulder? It didn't really look like he placed his hand on that shoulder, but I didn't see. Did you see a pull?
I see the left arm do a pull from that end zone view.
Okay.
I got a correct call for the back judge.
Clemson fans have had enough of pass interference calls the last couple of games. They don't like that one. First and goal. And the Wolfpack punch it in here. Houston makes a cut, fights through a tackle, and is spun down at the 2. Roro made the tackle, but they are knocking on the door here.
They're livid here in Death Valley with some of these calls. What an effort there by Jordan Houston.
Well, Clemson's field goal drive aided by a couple of penalties in the Wolfpack, and now 2 15-yard penalties on this drive have State a couple of yards away.
Remember, the Pack get the ball to start the second half.
2 tight ends. Leary pops it across the middle, wide open. One of those tight ends said Sebro, and NC State jumps on top for the first time.
I like to do this on an early down instead of waiting till third down. Look at Clemson is thinking and anticipating a run. And watch how he gets involved, comes down, and then just sneaks behind those linebackers and safeties who think the ball is going to be handed to 3. Jordan Houston, great call by Tim Beck there on second down. Nice job of selling it. The tight end really got involved, and then he just slid right behind those backers. Well designed and great patience by North Carolina State.
The Sebro twins, Sed and Fred, are tight ends, 47 to 48. Sed's second catch of the season and first career touchdown. Crowd booing, but the visitors take the lead 10-6.
Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi here with you. Coming up at the half, we'll hear from Nick Saban with the very latest on Bryce Young's injury plus his status. It's 16-3 Mizzou over Georgia. Are they in trouble?
If they can't run the football, yes, because Stetson Bennett is under a ton of pressure. They got to solve the running game. And right now, give shout out to the Missouri defense. They are dominating Georgia.
They have been fantastic highlights. Plus, we also have another top 10 team that went down. It's coming your way at the break. Back to you, Chris.
Well, guys, thank you. NC State bench hyped up. They have a 4-point lead here. Put the focus on the quarterbacks. Devin Leary in that touchdown drive, Kirk, 6 for 6. He's showing the pocket toughness, accuracy. And meanwhile for Clemson, Uiagalelei hasn't completed a pass thrown 15 yards downfield. So different from last week's attack against Wake Forest.
Well, if Clemson's going to be able to move the ball against an experienced defense, they can't just throw the 50-50 ball that worked against Wake Forest. It's too good of a defense, too experienced, and they have too much depth. You're going to have to see them mix the underneath throw with that intermediate, then take some shots. But I think that's the big question still with DJ is he comfortable and patient in making those throws underneath, not just the 50-50 ball downfield.
Looking for an underneath throw. Now he'll just take off and run and scamper for a nice gain of about 8. Did get the one pass interference on the downfield attempt to Ngata, but they haven't gotten Shipley going at all, Kirk. The Wolfpack defense has been swarming number 1.
And this is big, 144, 3 timeouts, plenty of time. But you're going to need to try to execute at least to get in the field goal range. Remember, we talked about NC State scores this touchdown late in the first half. They deferred, so they do get the ball back. So even though it's still a long way to go in this game, if you're Dabo Swinney, you're obviously thinking at the very least get into field goal range and maybe have a couple shots at the end zone.
Only need about 30 yards to get in Hodder's range. They have the 3 timeouts. So Uiagalelei delivers a strike over the middle. That'll be a first down out near midfield to Bo Collins. Sophomore from Los Angeles, his high school teammate.
That's exactly what you just talked about, is showing patience. Davis Allen takes the linebackers out. He waits, has time, and makes a great throw right over the middle where those linebackers had left to come underneath on Allen.
Wolfpack had all of their timeouts, and Durham wants to spend one on defense right here to kind of slow things down. Cyrus Fagan, safety, walking early to the locker room. Tomorrow morning, Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 Eastern. Conversation with Jalen Hurts. Well, the Eagles have been strong, and so is the quarterback. Jerry Jones also involved. Monday Night Football, Rams, Niners in Santa Clara. NFC Championship game rematch, of course, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Manicast over on ESPN2.
And that is a good one on Monday night. He dialed in on that.
So Dave Doran says, wait a second. Let's regroup on defense. Got the timeouts. Might as well use them here.
Yeah.
Clemson wanted to crank the tempo. Pressure. Hit as he throws again. It's a low completion right to midfield. Williams caught it.
They walked those linebackers up, and that time Wilson, number 11, is able to come all the way around. Nobody picks him up. Again, mixing up those looks.
Shipley looking for some room, and then just barrels inside the 40. That's by far his best run tonight, and Clemson is threatening.
That is a feel by a running back. That little side cut, side cut, side cut, wait, bang. He hits it and accelerates so quickly.
Uiagalelei lofting downfield. It's Ngata, ball batted in the air, and a diving interception attempt. Devin Boykin was down there in coverage. Crowd wanted a PI on the Wolfpack again that time.
Adon White is the corner 3. He's beaten, but the ball's underthrown. But how about the left hand knocking that ball away? The crowd thinks that he got the right hand onto the chest. He looks at the last second, reads the eyes of Ngata, and then gets the left hand up to knock that ball away. That looked like a clean play to me.
Boykin very close to a circus pick. 2nd and 10. Still all 3 timeouts. Shipley has plenty of room off the left, and he'll just sprint out of bounds inside the 30-yard lines. Peyton Wilson helped him out, and the crowd wanted a flag on that one. They don't get it.
That had to be a miscue by North Carolina State's alignment. Nobody left to protect that edge. Dabo Swinney's fired up. He thinks Shipley pushed out of bounds by Wilson. As he goes out of bounds, watch 11 with a pretty aggressive push.
You got him right as he was crossing into the paint, and chairs, bench, stuff went flying. Wilson went flying.
Yeah, officials thought he was still in bounds when he got shoved.
Uiagalelei has plenty of time here. Hasn't had this luxury often tonight, and delivers down the field. Shipley makes the catch and scores. What a drive. That was all Will Shipley. He'd been contained and frustrated. He busted loose with 2 runs and then the touchdown reception of 27 yards. Didn't need a timeout. First time Will has caught a pass and taken it into the end zone. We'll take another look to make sure he did score.
He is so athletic. How about that patience by Uiagalelei with only rushing 3? He's losing his balance. He tries to dive. That knee's down maybe before that ball breaks the plane.
Preston Pylon Cam may give us a look. Knee down right.
Yeah, he's
there.
Short.
Ball
he's
is
well
short.
Yeah. Maybe a full yard. Maybe the ball comes out after he's down, so that's irrelevant. But he's definitely down. Funny how fans, you see what you want to see, right? Objectively speaking, his knee is down, right?
Well, Dabo had already been fuming at the crew during that entire drive. He had the hat off down there.
Oh, yeah.
What an effort by Shipley. He had runs of 11 and 12, and then this reception. And this will put the ball about a half-yard short of the goal line. 35 seconds to play, and again, time really not an issue with all those timeouts to spend.
You know what Shipley does here, Chris, not just a great play. Watch his route. He's just a check down. They're rushing 3, 8 in coverage. He's just right here just in case he needs help. When he starts to scramble and he's got time, he says, you know what, I'm just going to tiptoe down the sidelines here. Good job of seeing that. That was complete just a job of improvising there by both the quarterback and a running back that makes that play happen.
The run this nibbles down with the ball at the 1 yard line. It'll be first down.
They have a 175-foot screen, whatever it is, to see the replay, but they still didn't buy what they saw here. And you get it. It's an orange-colored lens you view the thing through if you're a Clemson fan.
You got 35 seconds.
They tried to run it in. Remember, they had a 1st and goal, 3, called 3 runs, couldn't get in back in the first quarter.
Yeah, you could see, I mean, after the review, this ball is a whole full yard. Was it the half-yard line? It's a full yard to get in. You've got all 3 timeouts, so obviously, or 2 timeouts. Everything he's telling right now, 2 timeouts. Let's get the ball into the end zone. So they have plenty of time. Everything within their arsenal to try to get this ball into the end zone with those 2 timeouts.
You got a tough running back. You got a very physical quarterback who can run it in. And again, you get a couple more timeouts to work with.
But that opening drive, when they got down there, Chrissy just talked about, they were going backwards. Offensive line was getting the defensive line did a good job eating up those linemen. Those linebackers and safeties were flying into the backfield against the running game. See if Dave Doran's bunch has similar success.
8th play of this drive. They've moved it 74 yards at about 1:16. You wondered, how would Clemson answer, knowing, of course, the Wolfpack get the football to begin the second half, and this has been a strong answer.
And they're bringing in Mafah, 230 pounds. You saw Shipley with his helmet off catching his breath, so the big back comes in short yardage.
You got about 465 pounds in the backfield here between the quarterback and the tailback. Keeper makes a cut and dives. DJ Uiagalelei puts Clemson on top. Good response.
Good response and a good read down here inside the 5. He's reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. He commits down to Mafah. He pulls it. Now it's 1-on-1. Who's going to win that matchup? And he gets the ball into the end zone, gets around Derek Pitts for the touchdown. Good read, reading that edge man on the zone read. Hung on that ride as long as he could to make that determination. Clearly, 32 Thomas came down, and it was just one-on-one battle.
NC State lead. It didn't last long, but a really good first half. Quarterbacks have made some plays. Both defenses have shown why they're highly regarded. Clemson already without Ryan Brzee. Andrew Mukuba ejected for targeting, so there's some depth issues. There's a flag down on the PAT here. Depth issues going forward in the second half.
False start. Offense number 33. 5-yard penalty. We'll still play the try.
But it has the feel, as we were talking before, Kirk, about a game that's going to come down to fourth quarter, last couple possessions. Who's got it?
Yeah.
Who can make a play at the end?
Yep. Every possession counts. False start here on Clemson. They'll push them back on this extra point. Makes me start to already think about, with a veteran quarterback, 31 seconds and 2 timeouts. Do you try to get yourself into field goal range if you're North Carolina State?
Potter knocks it through, and the lead is 3. Well, here's the play that set up the touchdown and was taken off the board, but that wheel route.
Yeah, and really not a wheel. He just kind of out there and then decides on his own just to say, okay, I'm going to try.
Wheel route.
Yeah, improv wheel route. Exactly. When in doubt, I'm going to try to find an opening. This opening happens to just be down the sideline. Tremendous athletic ability to have receiver skills to catch it, keep his balance. And then they're called back to the 1-yard line, and the big quarterback off the zone read takes it in to give the Tigers the lead.
Second rushing touchdown of the year for DJ. Shipley did the hard work on the drive. Now it will be interesting to see. Doran's going to have his offense on the field at the beginning of the second half. Does he get a little adventurous? Can they get some field position maybe with the kick return here? Houston at the goal line. Potter drives a low kickoff, and it's just going to bounce to Houston at the 10. It's an effective kick. Got the coverage seemed time to get down there, and he's pushed out at the 22 with 28 seconds to go. Well, the Red River is going to be a great scene, but both the Longhorns and the Sooners struggling. Oklahoma torched on TCU today. Texas in a battle right now. Next Saturday, noon Eastern time on ABC. Always fun at the Texas State Fair. Maybe it means almost as much when both teams are struggling. Desperately to win.
Oh, yeah. Looks like they're going to pull their horns in here and go into the showers and get that possession to start the second half.
So Devin Leary was pretty effective when Wolfpack had the football. They only ran 26 plays in the first half. The late touchdown drive by the Tigers has them on top 13-10. Sets up as a really good second half. Leary will get the football to begin it. What you'd expect, what you hope for when two top 10 conference rivals collide on a big stage. Let's get Dabo Swinney's reaction to the first half with Holly.
Well, Coach, with 1:44 to go, you guys get the ball and you find something on offense to move down the field. What did you find that you can lean on in the second half?
Well, we've only had the ball 4 times and we've scored 3 times. So we've moved the ball the whole half. You know, we should have had one more touchdown. We missed a throw. But, you know, time of possession, I mean, they kept it most of the first quarter. But 4 drives, 3 scores against this bunch. Hey, that's a good first half for us, but really disappointed in the big third down we gave up, the bust on cover 2, and then the turn a guy loose. We need to hold them to a kick right there. But, you know, a little adversity, a lot of challenges, some adversity with calls and all kind of stuff. Really proud of our guys. We got the lead. This is what a championship-type game's all about.
Thank you, Coach.
Great.
Comprehensive as always in his first half analysis. A lot of streaks on the line, but Clemson's has this streak going for him. 63 straight wins when leading at halftime. Halftime report is coming up right after these messages.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
We're set for the second half. Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. This presentation of the ACC on ESPN, and this is the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe back with you. Devin Leary and the Wolfpack will get the football to begin the second half. Kind of a weird first half. You see it on Sunday or Thursday nights. You're seeing it. One of those 7 possessions in the first half, excluding the kneel down. Offenses scored on 5 of the 7. Rushing yards very hard to come by on both sides.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see the adjustments on both sides, because both defenses giving up a few plays here or there. Of course, North Carolina State's defense there at the end of the half. But overall, defenses have played well. Which offense can try to put their quarterback in a better position? You see Leary's only missed 3 passes, but only 91 yards. They're not getting the ball downfield. The Tigers have done a good job of keeping those big plays potentially in front of them.
Well, last year's win by the Wolfpack in Raleigh was decided in double overtime. Another suspenseful finish expected here tonight. Potter to boot it away, and there'll be no return. Tonight's Modelo Fighting Spirit moment, that drive to take the lead at the end of the half.
Yeah, and it got off to a really good start. Little patience. Instead of forcing the throw, no problem. Pick up a first down, running down the right sideline, falling back, finds an open receiver underneath in Collins. And then here, talking about patience, waiting, and then just improvising and finding Shipley down that left sideline. It got called back. So one more play. Uiagalelei takes it in for that touchdown to give him the lead to get ready for this second half.
Leary only 3 incompletions in the first half, but pressured immediately, hammered from behind. Barrett Carter, the leader of that defense, came on the blind side.
Well, actually bring Trotter, but here is the blitz that ends up getting home from the backside. Barrett Carter is a complete player, known really because of his athletic ability. He sits in coverage, but this time on the very first snap of the second half, they bring him.
How did he hold on to the ball?
I have no idea. He got annihilated.
He got pummeled and somehow didn't fumble. Looking for Thayer Thomas, incomplete. 3rd and 18 right out of the gate. Holly?
Well, Dave Doran said this defensive line is really good, that they've got to do a better job blocking them to get that running game going. He's also aware that Clemson's corners are down with that ejection, and so they want to go deep. They want to go over their heads and really challenge down in the he told his team in the locker room at half, this is going to be a fourth quarter game. You don't have to do more than your job, but make the plays you're physically capable of making. He felt like they gave them a touchdown to end the half.
Yeah, they're showing blitz right now. Leary making some adjustments.
Let's see if they do take a downfield shot, trying to move the sticks. Now he's going to be swarmed and sacked again. Pass rush got him. That was Myles Murphy, the talented defensive end. He's capable of taking over a game. Hasn't done it really so far this season, though.
He sure has that ability on the edge, but look at the coverage downfield. They showed blitz. They walked two different defenders up close. Venables, the safety, and Barrett Carter, the linebacker, but then drop out of it, and it's pretty nice when you can get home that quickly by just rushing three.
McDonough a punt. 2 men are deep for Clemson. They bring in Will Taylor along with the freshman Antonio Williams standing at their own 44-yard line. Tigers looking to build the lead with good field position. McDonough's kick is high and it's fielded. Taylor makes a man miss. A flag comes in very late as he's dropped at the Wolfpack 43. He was way away from where Taylor was tackled. Someone on the coverage team for the Pack is slow to get up. And Drake Thomas, yeah, it is their starting middle linebacker.
Foul. Illegal blindside block. Receiving team number 40. 15-yard penalties and force from the end of the run. First down.
Jeez. Tambo cannot believe it. You can see the frustration. The blindside block.
Yeah, Luke Price, 40. That's who he's talking to right there. I mean, it just about to get great field position. Probably exactly like he talked about at halftime. Defense is going to get out here, get us a 3 and out. There's Thomas walking off. Get us a 3 and out. We're going to get great field position. Worked exactly the way he wanted it to work until that. On the left side here, right there in the middle. That's what they called, and pushes Clemson back to their own 42.
Massive shift in field position. Would have been well into NC State territory. Play action, a high throw, and the catch is made on the far side. It's Davis Allen. Ball was dead before it came out. First time they've targeted the senior from Calhoun, Georgia.
About the big 6'6", 250-pound tight end. Flexed out.
Game-winning catch last week in Forest in overtime.
Came in as an inline guy with his size, but over 4 years of playing has gotten more and more comfortable with his receiver skills to the point where they can flex him out in a tough matchup at 6'6", 250.
He's flexed out again. Kirk to the top of the screen. They look that way. It's a slant. They were trying to go right back to Allen, and there's a flag. Pass interference on the Wolfpack. That was Derek Pitts for the second time tonight. Flag.
And that's the tough matchup I'm talking about. You put a guy out there that's so tall.
Defense number 44. Marvin Pitts at the spot of a foul. Automatic first down.
Pitts has pretty good size for a corner. He's 6'1", but that's 6'6", 250, and he works just right through his body. Allen came up right away. Pitts frustrated, but he did. Before the ball got there, he hit him in the back. Picks up, gives him again another first down.
Uiagalelei runs behind the block of Shipley and breaks free. DJ in the clear. It's a foot race. And they will reach in, shut him out inside the 10-yard line. Jakeen Harris saved the score, but the Tigers are threatening again.
Great block by Will Putnam and Parks. Watch the combination block. Work down, pull around the guard, and now you get Shipley in front of him. I'm telling you, this is the difference in Clemson in the second year with Uiagalelei, is their ability to run the ball. Not only is it great to see him run the ball and effective, but what it does to the defense when you throw that quarterback run in and what those safeties have to do to account for that, knowing it's there.
Shipley, that was DJ's longest run of the season by 15 yards. Talked about modifying his diet, cutting down on those portions, working out much harder. You can see the increased quickness as a runner.
Yeah, and like I said, not only is it working, but you ask anybody that has to deal with a quarterback that has the threat, the safeties, their eyes have to be aware of that. It creates one-on-one opportunities on the outside with those big receivers. Nagata at 6'3", and Collins at 6'3", without safety support.
When your starting tailback is a very willing lead blocker, that makes it even better. 2nd and goal. Uiagalelei launches to the end zone. Touchdown, Jake Brenningstool.
How about the location of this throw by DJ Uiagalelei here? Here's your tight end. He's going to work here. Keep in mind how big he is at 6'6". He's patient, up in the air, back shoulder, and let the big man go up and make that play. Could not have handed the ball to him any better than he made that throw.
3rd touchdown of the season for lean tight end from Tennessee. Allen had a catch early in the drive, so the tight ends featured there as Clemson gets a quick stop with the pass rush, gets the football back, and stretches the lead 20-10. Tigers with a couple of touchdowns have built a 10-point lead. We love the Tiger there, but I'm not sure about those reps. That down the road at Camp Lejeune, Kirk, that would never count as a rep. My brother Drew was a Marine down there.
Oh, chance.
Yeah.
He's getting down. He's just not getting up. Then he got up and flexed.
Crowd is up. And now we're going to see another test of Devin Leary's mettle, his grit. They have not been able to get the running game going at all. The Tigers have cranked up the pass rush, and now the deficit is 10, and it's going to be louder than ever right now.
Well, he is a veteran. We've talked about him a lot. He does need help. This offensive line has been overmatched most of the game. Wes Goodwin, the new defensive coordinator, has taken over for Brent Venables, who's now the head coach in Norman for the Sooners. Has a team that's playing with a very different mindset than a week ago.
And it was a positive run as Houston spins for 5. You talk about Goodwin. It's a very interesting background that Wes has. He's been twice a consultant here at Clemson, worked with Bruce Arians of the Arizona Cardinals, did play college football, so comes from a different background than the typical DC, but very bright defensive mind. All those who work with him say that. Leary rolls on 2nd and 5 and delivers. A bobbling catch is made by Thomas out across the 40, 1st down.
I was going to say, usually the sure-handed Thomas, this time he holds on to it, but had to bobble it. See those linebackers respect the play fake, and then they start to attack downhill, gave him that opening, but that hand gets on the ball by the safety. Phillips almost takes it away, but how about that focus by the veteran Thomas to secure it?
His 5th catch tonight. Looking to throw on 1st down. Zips it out to Lassane, who's been a frequent target on these short routes, and Wolfpack have moved the ball into Clemson territory. Another 1st down.
Yeah, that corner's sitting back at about 12 to 15 yards, and he just says, "I'll take that. Thank you very much." Lassane, the junior.
You're working against the freshman Pride. Very thin. The guys are growing up on the fly for Clemson tonight. Bad to. Leary again takes Lassane underneath. That's a throw in front of Pride. Easy access.
Yeah, for people that are just tuning in, you mentioned Pride, who is the true freshman. Nate Wiggins on the other side. You've got a lot of.
Malcolm Green is out, the starting corner.
Yeah, I mean they're down to what they have. Again, very talented players, just inexperience and learning as we go.
Mukubu, the safety, ejected for targeting in the 1st half. Leary again, a long throw that was off the hands of Carter that time. Wiggins in coverage.
Again, that's part of the immaturity that hopefully Wiggins will outgrow. He makes a play that's pretty routine and then wants to let people know about it. And I think that's what's holding him back, and I think big part of just play the game. There's no need. It's a 5-yard out, 20. Get back to it, ready to play the next play.
It's a big play. It's 3rd and 3. And completion. Carter was there, made the catch, trying to jump the route for a pick. How did it go through the hands of Wiggins?
He put his foot in the ground and jumped it. Looked like at the very least he might get a hand on it to knock it away, but he's going for a pick 6. It's the risk you take on a 3rd down play. You either hit it, you walk to the end zone, you miss it, gets right by you, Could have easily probably gotten a hand on it and knocked it away, but instead Carter gets the first down.
Bad news, Mickens, who made the tackle for Clemson, is down on the field. We'll step aside.
Saturday Night Football, presented by Capital One on ABC, is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Order a grilled spicy deluxe sandwich today, available for a limited time. And Goodyear, discover the possibilities. Goodyear, more driven.
Wolfpack marching. R.J. Mickens going into the athletic trainer's medical tent. So Sherrod Coble, a very talented true freshman, a big future. Well, the future is now. He's pressed into duty. Another young guy in that secondary. On first down, Leary launches for the end zone, and it's overthrown. Go route there as Pride, a freshman, was covering the big guy Carter.
And he's right there. Yeah, taking a shot. Pride, again, has good instincts, good athletic ability, a little slant and go. Doesn't necessarily bite onto it, then regroups. Has the speed to get back in position, but the ball overthrown anyway. I'm surprised they haven't tested these corners a little bit more, especially after last week's game against Wake Forest, where they gave up a ton of big plays.
And you'd love to let your receiver have a chance to make a play that time. Leary checked it down, and then just falling down was Houston out of the backfield.
Again, once again, Tyler Davis, they must have drilled this all week with Wes Goodwin. I mean, Tyler Davis, KJ Henry, before they can even try to draw a screen up, they're out in the flat. There's no, you saw him pump it. The reason he pump fake is Davis was out there right on top of the running back.
Tyler Davis came out huge. He didn't play the previous week, but against Wake Forest late, came up with some big plays along with Brazia, of course, who's out tonight. 3rd and 10. Leary trying to make something happen. Dumps it off, and it's incomplete. Again, that was Houston in the pattern. Threw it a little behind him, and it's 4th down.
Linebackers get width, and you'll watch he kind of helps out initially with the idea that there may be some help on pass protection. He's just a check down. Linebackers clear out. If he holds on to that ball, he's maybe a yard or two short.
Here's Christopher Dunn. We talked about the misses against Clemson a year ago. It was a tough time for him. He got death threats deleted his social media accounts, but said he learned and grew and improved as a kicker, and he bangs that one through from distance. 49 yards. A satisfying make for Dunn. Doran never lost faith in his kicker. And that stops the Clemson 14-point run, gets the Wolfpack back within 7. Career scoring leader for NC State does his job. Wolfpack settled for a field goal. 10-play drive to cut the lead to 7. Young going to lay back to work. Tigers offense has gotten going, really only been stopped once. All the other possessions have produced points. There's that last drive.
And they started the second half exactly the way they wanted to, and the big quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, got loose, running the football. Big change in his game. How about NC State looking into the backfield, worried about him running? Instead, he throws it. We talked about the placement of that football up in the air. There's 6'6" tight end, back shoulder where he goes up and easily scores that touchdown.
Big change in the game plan from last week when they took 16 downfield shots, completed 8 of them. Just 1 of 4. That was the Shipley improv route that set up the touchdown before half. They hand it off inside, and Shipley almost broke free. Marcus Tate, the guard, was trying to help him out. Isaiah Moore able to tackle him, but it's a first down.
Watch this as we were away at break. He just warming up, trying to get loose. See him with the trainer. Kind of looked like he was flexing that right thumb, but up to this point, not impacting him at all.
Had the touchdown run to cap off the drive. Also had his career long run in that last Tiger possession. Off the play action, retreats and flips it down the middle, and it's Binningstool again, the young tight end, making a huge impact tonight. Tackled out at the Wolfpack 30.
But when you have the ability to run Shipley, watch what it does to the safety's eyes, concerned about that running game. They're coming up to help out on Shipley. Good job being a step ahead by Brandon Streeter with the play action.
Ngata, heavy traffic, tackled immediately by Tanner Ingle. Holly, what do you got?
Well, guys, Clemson drove the field last time and scored with 2 starters out for this NC State Wolfpack defense. Drake Thomas has been over in the injury tent. He has returned after a leg injury, but Cyrus Fagan out for the rest of the game. The strong safety will not return with a back injury, and you're seeing it. It's hurting them a little bit right in the middle of that defense. I've seen Jakeem Harris in there, and as well as number 12, Boykin, trying to make up for his loss.
It's tough for Fagan. He missed a lot of last year with a bicep injury. Hope it's nothing serious. Behind the sticks on 2nd down here. Shipley on a delayed handoff, kind of stumbles forward and now is knocked down hard. He'll set up about a 3rd and 5. Jakeem Harris stopped him.
This time you see North Carolina State retreating and bailing out. So now you have better numbers. Worried about the run, you're worried about the pass. This time they're worried about the pass and pick up some positive yards here. Now they get it to 3rd and 5.
You are in field goal range for Potter if they don't convert this and don't go for it. Uiagalelei was going to run all the way, and Isaiah Moore was not having it. The coach on the field, middle linebacker, makes the play, and it's 4th down. They lose a yard there.
And they brought both their linebackers. Wilson comes here, Moore comes around. By bringing Wilson, he occupies the guard. Moore comes around and makes the play. Tony Gibson dialing up a perfect run blitz there on 3rd down.
So BT Potter, 1 chip shot, 1 long one. Tries again, same distance as his last make, 46 yards. Going to put Clemson back up double digits here. Kick is driven, but he hooked it. So Potter misfires that time. Tigers drive it 48 yards, but come up empty. Hooked it right off the foot.
So reliable. I mean, he's been making these kicks for so long. Good hold there by Drew Sweeney. Got it turned. I mean, hit it clean. Just pulled it. Maybe head came up a little bit.
Mike Black's my spotter. He's kind of giving me the motion. Kind of moved.
I'm trying to read the language.
Body language. Yeah.
He's pulling his head to the left. So like a golf swing, right, Blackie? And the Wolfpack catch a break. Dave Doran says, "Guys, I told you we're in this game."
Devin Leary has been accurate tonight, operating really without any kind of run game. It's been short, intermediate routes. Seymour Kongbe is the back, and he is smacked right at the line of scrimmage.
How about Keith McGuire? Nice job of filling in for Trotter, making a play. Let's see the hole by Drew Sweeney. The laces, gets him turned. Watch the head lift up there. That's what brought it just slightly to the left. You're talking about a game of inches with these kickers.
So the kickers will tell you it's a game of centimeters.
Centimeters, yeah. Probably better.
Leary, incomplete. He's trying to get the ball to Seabrook that time. They've had some drops in the last couple of possessions from tight end there and running backs.
I don't think that, even if he catches that, that's not much of a gain at all. Instead of going downfield, Clemson's defense forcing him to work the edges. Now they put themselves in a hole here at 3rd and 10. See if Goodwin brings pressure or sits back. Remember, Miles Murphy has been a handful for them coming from the blind side on the left of this offensive line.
Leary straight back, has to spin away from pressure. Hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. They're getting after the quarterback. This is not a passing game that can operate without a running game to help it out at all.
Orhorhoro comes around, little twist. I thought Murphy, look at Murphy take everybody from the left side. He took the left tackle, the left guard. Again, it was just a twist. They didn't have to bring linebackers. Linebackers were able to sink back in coverage.
26 rushing yards, though, Kirk. Without any kind of play action threat, this is not how Leary's used to operating.
No, and this is the defensive line that we've expected to see from Clemson all year. This kind of pressure, this kind of domination at the line of scrimmage.
And the depth they show, again, without Brzee, without Xavier Thomas. Taylor is going to be dragged down after a very short return at the 26-yard line. To Kevin Negandhi with an update.
Chris, week 5 primetime windows right now. Good one on the Plains. LSU up 21-17 over Auburn. Number 1 Georgia still down to Mizzou 19-12. Surprise there on the ACC network. Georgia Tech up 9-7 against number 24 Pitt, and Cincinnati in control over on ESPNU. Back to you.
This afternoon in the ACC, Wake Forest just bounced back from that heartbreaker. Clemson, good win in Tallahassee for the Demon Deacons. Maffa is the back. Get it out on the edge, and this is Davis, the tight end. Big fella flexed way out there. Not easy for a smaller DB to get to the ground. Moves it about 5 yards.
Remember, we talked about adjustments. What kind of adjustments will we see from these offenses? And that's one of them. Moving Davis Allen out. To try to see if they'll walk a linebacker out there, or we get mismatched against a smaller corner. So they've thrown the ball to him. He's out there blocking as well. This time he's more in line.
To run all the way. And Uiagalelei is going to be swarmed and knocked down for a loss. Savion Jackson got there first. Wilson was there.
Well, it is physical tonight at that line of scrimmage. With this Clemson offensive line, the veteran North Carolina State defensive line and linebackers.
What are his best options, you think, on 3rd and 7 as they try to keep the football, keep this drive going?
He's got trips off to the left. I'm sure he's going to try to get a feel indicator here if it's man or zone. Does he work back here to Ngata, who looks like he's one-on-one, or work to the trip side?
He looks to Ngata, almost intercepted. Aiden White jumped the route, and Ngata really hadn't have his head turned looking for the throw, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, we've seen White last second a few times. There's an injury to Walker Parks, the right guard. Here's this ISO. Check this out. Watch how White does just a really good job at the last minute of being able to get his eyes turned, just unable to come up with the interception. So anticipation from Uiagalelei, thought he could sneak it in, but tight coverage by White, and he almost cover guy. With a pick.
He's their best cover guy. He had a game-changing play. He had an 84-yard pick six against Texas Tech. It's the one Power 5 opponent the Wolfpack could play. That really blew the game open. He's a skilled guy with the ball in his hands. Had a chance there.
And when you're out there on an island against a receiver like Ngata at 6'3", I mean, you better have the instincts, not just the covering ability, but the instincts. And he anticipated that throw because of the down and the distance close to the sticks, and he's able to almost come up with a pick.
This is something Clemson fans have not seen. The same 5 offensive linemen have started all 5 games. They've stayed healthy. Walter Parks, a guy who played tackle a couple of years, adjusting to right guard, being helped off. So the Wolfpack defense gets the quick stop. Let's stick the right side here. Look at his lower body. Yeah, just rolled his ankle.
Yep.
Boot is away. Thomas comes up, fields it, and cannot escape. But the Wolfpack defense with a crucial 3 and out. Decent field position. Again, down 7. Another reminder, Matt Sprague's high-stake game on Sunday Night Baseball. Final head-to-head meeting of the season. Who's going to win the division? Who's going to end up in the wild card position? Flat-footed tie at the moment.
How your Rockies looking this year?
I don't think they're in the hunt.
They're out of
your Reds.
About like my Reds.
I'm like,
I could tell usually by the second week in April if it's going to be a long summer or not.
April.
Yeah, in April. I'm getting, 6 of the last 7 years, you just kind of have a gut feel. Got to find other things to do.
Crowd gets up on their feet, and pre-snap there's a flag. Crowd kind of sensed this is an important possession. Wolfpack are hanging around.
Offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's Grant Gibson, a 4-year starter, making his 41st start. You don't expect a mental error from that veteran.
No.
That's a momentum killer. It was a big defensive stop. The crowd here kind of sensing this is an important moment in the game here.
Against this defense, you get great field position. Now you're at 1st and 15.
Houston tries to get some of it back, and that is qualifies as an effective run tonight. He got 5, so back near the original line of scrimmage.
It looked like that was Clemson just slanting their defensive line. I thought it might be a loss of a couple yards. He somehow, with his quickness, was able just to have enough speed to be able to get through that guard tackle gap there on the left side, get some positive yards.
He returns. He was out last week with concussion protocol, got knocked out of the game against Texas Tech. Hasn't been able to break one tonight. They throw underneath. It's another catch by Darryl Jones. Big lean receiver.
Just feels like if Devin Leary and this Wolfpack team are going to win, not just tonight, but have the year that they want to have, besides Thayer Thomas and Devin Carter, you need more weapons, whether it's 8 Gray or Tootle the tight end, Lassane 15.
Thomas set back off the line of scrimmage, flexes out, they throw over the middle, and it's intercepted. Torrenio Pride, the freshman, pressed into duty tonight off the carom with the takeaway. Tonight's first turnover is a huge one.
This is what we've been talking about with Leary and his younger receivers, in this case the tight end, Tootle. He settles right there. Leary's thinking he's going to settle a little bit earlier. See how he's continuing to move his body into the middle? Leary thinks he's going to just stay stationary. That's why he threw the ball there. So another miscommunication, and just a slight movement causes the tip. The ball goes into the air, and Clemson gets the turnover.
So Pride with the first big impact play of his career. Another talented freshman they expect to develop into a great player, but pressed into duty tonight. Now Uiagalelei lofting downfield over the head of Davis Allen. Aiden White in coverage. So Brandon Streeter, who calls the play, is wanting to take a shot right off the takeaway.
Yeah, a little early, or a little, an underneath route you think the corner might bite on, and then they send Allen, the big tight end, down the sideline. There's Brandon Streeter. He thought he had exactly the matchup that he wanted. He keeps flexing Allen out, hoping to get an undersized corner. White doesn't bite on the little hitch and go.
Good old-fashioned hand fighting.
Yeah.
Tight end and DB there. Kobe Pace in the game is the football. And the 2nd and 10 run produces 3 yards. Peyton Wilson stopped him.
How about Dabo's comment to you and I and Holly yesterday in our meeting about his 3 running backs that he has with Shipley and Pace and Maffei?
That's a pretty bold statement.
I was like, okay. I didn't know you thought you had that.
Comparing it to Najee Harris, Damian Harris, and Josh Jacobs at Alabama.
Yeah.
And he was lining up his 3 guys in terms of ability and skill set.
He was saying the potential of what this group can become. C.J. Spiller, a great player here, is of course their running back coach.
That's a big call. Let's see.
Right.
Those guys are pretty good. 3rd and 7. Wolfpack bring in some pressure. It's picked up. DJ has time and delivers to Williams. And the freshman still running down inside the 30. First down near the 25.
Well, he wants Allen on right in the middle of the 3 receivers, but pretty good coverage, so he has to work around to Williams. Good tight coverage on the tight end, Davis Allen, so he moves his feet to the outside and finds separation there with, again, the freshman, Antonio Williams. Great throw.
He's a smooth slot receiver. He flipped from South Carolina on his near signing day anyway. Comes in with real knowledge of the game. You got a slot guy who can do a lot of different things, get downfield, has good ball skills.
And I honestly think that's what's been missing over the years. They had Amari Rodgers, who's now at Green Bay and a great player who overcame the ACL when he was here. Going back to, of course, Hunter Renfrow. Go before that, Artavius Scott. They've had so many tall receivers, but when they're dangerous, they've got a guy in the slot that can make people miss and shake and bake with those option routes.
They've got one now, and Williams Shipley into heavy traffic, and Corey Durden has been doing a good job clogging the middle. Got help from Tanner Engel on the stop.
That was a slow developing play that was blown up on the play side, and those linebackers, they help rally to the ball. Man, they are flying downhill. That was Tanner Engel.
Clemson does not have to run a play before the end of the third quarter, and it looks like that's going to be the play here. So Clemson, with a touchdown early in the quarter, extends the lead, and we're headed to the final quarter of this top 10 showdown in Death Valley, with Tigers on the move and leading by 7. Stick around for the fourth quarter coming up after this message and a word from your local ABC station. Raucous scene here, except for the fourth quarter. Be a raucous scene in Lawrence, Kansas. College game day, Kirky. The Bears lobbying has paid off. The Jayhawks did their part. They're still undefeated.
What do you say? Only 7 Power 5 schools we've now not been to. Check another one off the list. The Kansas Jayhawks. TCU, by the way, scoring a lot of points with Sonny Dykes.
Horned Frogs visitors next week. Uiagalelei on 3rd and 11. Hit again as he throws. He gets it out there complete to Allen, who's tackled immediately by Aiden White. And it's 4th down. Here comes the field goal team.
Right, Price came all the way around. He may have caught a break that they didn't call a foul, because he lowers his helmet and goes right into Uiagalelei as he releases the ball.
So Potter is on, made his first 2, hooked the last one. This is from 44 to again give Clemson that double-digit lead here early in the final quarter. It's away, and that's a typical BT Potter kick right through. So a short drive, 25 yards in 7 plays, but the lead is back to 10. Curtis Wilson and that All-State bus making its way to the campus here. What's your All-State mayhem moment today?
Jalen Daniels, you can see they're up 7, looking good. Everything's under control. Iowa State, 3rd down, stopped just short, and then a field goal to tie, no problem. Missed to the left. 3rd miss of the day for the Iowa State kicker, and Kansas, the Jayhawks hold on, remain unbeaten.
Speaking of unbeaten, Georgia, of course, the dominant #1 unbeaten, still trails in Columbia. It's been an uphill fight all night. The Chick-fil-A rankings showing you it's a 3-point game.
Oklahoma State with a statement in Waco today. Good Baylor team. Mike Gundy's bunch playing good football. Big test today, their first of the year, and answered the bell. LSU has come back. They're up on Auburn right now in a game that's always a classic.
Auburn had jumped out to a huge lead in that game. Kevin Negandhi has his eyes on everything going on in this night window. Back to him for an update.
You guys mentioned it. Now for our RB studio update. Let's go to Columbia, Missouri. #1 Georgia, down 10 after Harrison Mevis have a night, his 5th field goal. This one from 56 yards out. Look at big number 92. He was strutting around and feeling really good after that kick. We see ya. We see ya. But here comes Georgia. 4th and 1. They convert. Kenny McIntosh. And then Kendall Milton scored. So now it's 22-19. Mizzou less than 10 minutes ago. Back to you.
Missouri driving. That would be the shocker that would shake up the season and the playoff race.
NC State coach is up at the top. You can see him going crazy, trying to get the right change. They're going to have to call a timeout.
Did not want to have to do that down double digits. You talk about the lack of a running game. Time and again, his guys have been hit behind the line. Only 6 yards rushing tonight before contact. Not a formula for success.
Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming
Tigers have been nullifying the running game, then getting after the quarterback. Sumo Kongbe turns the corner. That's a rarity. Actually had somewhere to run before contact. Almost half the running plays tonight before that one hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, and the play, the hole was actually not there. He had to bounce that on his own, kind of manufacture that, and then picked up a block by the receiver, Thayer Thomas, who was in motion. So they do get some positive yards.
That was their longest run of the night. Sumo Kongbe again will get nothing. This time it'll be 3rd and short. Some urgency here now. It's been one of those games of very few possessions, some grinding drives. Again, down by 10, needs something out of this possession.
Just a mismatch tonight at the line of scrimmage. I'm sure Dave Doeren knew that Wes Goodwin's defensive line, obviously incredibly talented, physical, but I'm sure he thought between run and pass he'd get it more of a push, at least occasionally.
With Brzee out, those other guys have really stepped up. 3rd and 1, they're trying to throw for it, and they find Thomas, the reliable target, hit immediately by Carter. They move the sticks.
Well, you're going to run the ball into that line, or are you going to trust a veteran quarterback and a veteran receiver with soft coverage? Go to the quarterback. Choose the latter. Henry, by the way, 5, almost knocked that down again. Came very close. But with soft coverage, an easy throw for Devin Leary.
Leary swarmed again, sacked for a 3rd time tonight. Miles Murphy and Tyler Davis.
Watch Tyler Venables take this throw away. He's looking to throw this ball to the left, to the outside. It's taken away. It's actually going to be an out and up, it looked like. But I thought he wanted to throw it, but at any rate, the entire pocket collapses, led by Tyler Davis getting in there.
2nd and 18. It's a screen all the way, thrown into heavy traffic, and incomplete.
They have not thrown a screen tonight that surprised Clemson. I don't know if they're tipping it off. I don't know if it's a formation that Dave Doeren's offense has given. Whatever it is, there's nobody that threatens this defense downfield, but as soon as they see screen, they get out there before the running back.
It's one of the more screen-heavy pass attacks in the country, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, one of them.
They have not worked tonight. 3rd and 18. Leary has a lot of time, tried to squeeze it into a very tight window. Nate Wiggins comes up and breaks it up, and yes, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Much different night for number 20 than the nightmare a week ago in Winston-Salem.
I love how he plays the ball. North Carolina State thinks that he got on the back of Thomas before he had a chance to make a play. I think he actually showed some athletic ability to be able to go up into the air and try to work his body around Thomas before he interfered with him.
Bill LeMonnier signaling he does not think that was pass interference. Kind of sense that they're going to be all over Thomas, the guy that Leary looks to in those situations. Taylor will wave for a fair catch and make it at the 34. So Clemson up 10, back to work. 11:49 remaining in Death Valley. Beginning of the week, we thought we might get another game affected by hurricane weather. Remember 7 years ago, Hurricane Joaquin, a sloppy, ugly game. Clemson with the goal line saying the bring your own guts. Then NC State played the Irish. A couple years before that, Hurricane Matthew in an even sloppier game and came out with a victory. Thankfully, it did not affect this game, but it has pummeled Florida, and we invite you to participate, helping the Red Cross. redcross.org/ESPN, sending relief to the folks affected by Ian down in the state of Florida. Food, shelter, supplies. It's going to be a massive, difficult, long recovery and other assistance. So a 10-point deficit, and the Tigers defense with another stop. He's giving the football back to DJ to try to work on some clock and build the lead if they can.
like so many of the stadiums, game ops here. Death Valley just continues to raise the bar.
Indeed. Big speakers, big screen, big, loud, festive crowd tonight. Look at that. It's brand new. They call it the Dabotron. The fourth biggest, I believe, in college football. Hard to believe there are three bigger than that. Uyunglele off play action, launches downfield, and it's off the fingertips of Beau Collins. The Don Bosco connection, so close. Battle was chasing, but he was beaten.
Well, he had him on a slant and go either way. He decides to go to Collins, a little bit more air, and it's a touchdown. You can see Dabo in the background, jumps in the air. He thought he had a touchdown. He could have gone right. The free safety in the middle moved that way, so he came back to the left, and DJ thought he had a touchdown that would have sealed this game.
Couple times tonight they've had looks at extended touchdown passes and not quite been able to come up with the throw. Shipley tackled by Moore for a loss.
This veteran North Carolina State defense up front especially doing everything they can to try to get the ball back to Leary, try to get themselves back into this game, make it a one-possession game. Caught a break there where Uyunglele just not able to connect with Collins for the touchdown. Come back the next play, get penetration. Now it's 3rd and long.
Four-man rush. Uyunglele has time and delivers underneath. Shipley makes the catch. Does not have first down yardage. Tackled at the 40 by Tishon Smith and Wilson, and out comes the punt team. So they went for the dagger on that first down play. We're very close to getting it, and now they have to punt.
Yeah, a really aggressive, good call that was perfectly executed, other than just a little bit more air, and it's a touchdown. But they had him in the coverage that they wanted.
That's Streeter. He is aggressive by nature. Used to call plays at Richmond. Moved recently from the field upstairs to get a better look at things as a play caller, and right there they could have won the game. We're just inches away from a completion. Left foot boot is a line drive, and Thomas decides to make the veteran move, just get away from it. Rolls dead at the 16. Didn't use much time on that drive, just 105. Still a 10-point game.
Saturday Night Football on ABC is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Crazy train on the speakers. The crowd getting cranked up here. NC State a long way from the end zone.
If I get the name of those speakers, the brand.
Can we get those for the house?
No. Just
another short throw. This time they do leave Thomas unguarded, and he makes the catch and scoots for a first down.
That's the one guy that, you know, if you're Clemson, make Leary go to someone else. Almost like a box and one. You've got to take him away, cloud him, roll somebody up. Because there's no one else that's making plays other than 5.
He was looking for Carter that time, but the big guy was well guarded. Henry again provided pressure, had to throw it away.
He got outside of the pocket and threw that ball away.
It's been a struggle after halftime again without a running game to play action off of. It's been difficult for Dave Doran's offense to find anything downfield. The pressure has gotten ratcheted up. This time he has a clean pocket, and it's Thomas. Beautiful throw, threaded in there, and State into Clemson territory.
Well, we just talked about how you've got to be able to get the ball to 5. He's just going to split the seam. Safety works to the middle. He actually has a chance to step up, come up right there. Kind of lost where he was as he came up. That was the young freshman Cavill.
Leary stretches the play. Thomas with his 3rd catch on the drive. That's just a short one for about 3.
He's got 9 receptions now. Not a lot of big plays. That last play was one of the biggest of the night. nobody else really is involved in this passing game. Even collectively as a group, nobody making plays the way Thomas is. He continues to find openings in this zone.
Leary stands and delivers. Going to have to do something, Kirk, in this fourth quarter that he hasn't done this year. Really hasn't been called on to do much in the fourth quarter. The one Power 5 opponent, Texas Tech, they were sitting in a lead, but it was with the running game. He only has 19 passing yards this year in the fourth quarter. 5 of 13 with a pick. So it's an unusual situation this year.
But in his career, he's been able to do it. You see who he threw that last pass to again, right? There, Thomas. He's off to the right in the slot right there.
He's looking to the left instead. Easy access throw. That Sumo Karnbe, the tailback, was set out wide. An easy pitch for a first down near the 35.
He lined up there. He didn't even motion. Really surprised on third down. This Trotter, who's battled through some injuries, slow to get up, but then freshman corner Pride off at about 10 yards, made it an easy throw there for Leary. I know it's a running back, but look at this cushion. Look at all that space on third down. You're basically giving them a first down.
Mentioned Trotter has been gritting his teeth and playing through some pain. He comes off again.
And I understand you don't want to give up an easy one, but I mean that big a cushion on third down, you give them a first.
Clock moving. 8:42. Urgency now for Leary, who steps and delivers a downfield shot. It's looking for Carter again. He has overthrown his big wide receiver.
And Chris, we just talked the cushion. Don't give up the big play. Now you got the same cushion over here, but he gives a stutter and go. This is why Clemson is giving this cushion. It makes sense on 1st and 10. There's a little hesitation, stutter and go, but the corner is so far back, there's no need to worry about that.
Think about bailing out.
Yeah, he's just bailing out. He don't want to give up a quick score. So they're basically giving you anything you want underneath. Again, look at the cushion again at the bottom.
Flags are down. It's going to be a hold on NC State. And the short pass incomplete to Thomas anyway. Someone just got tackled in the
I was going to say a hold or a tackle.
Holding. Offense, number 52. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Timothy McKay, the right tackle. It's been a tough night for those guys up front for State.
KJ Henry getting off the ball so much faster this year. I mean, he's coming, and he still gets around the corner, showing good bend. It's like a different guy now that he's healthy. When he came in to Clemson, #1 ranked defensive lineman, huge expectations, but then he's just kind of battled and dealt with injuries, had to wait his turn, and man, is he taking advantage of it in 2022.
And knee injury a couple years ago. When he's healthy, he's fearsome. Former 5-star recruit Sumo Karnbe in the flat. He gets back some of the yardage. Simpson knocked him down. It's going to be third down and long here. They'll need 13.
Yeah, just keep everything in front, rally to the ball. Don't give, again, anything easy between trying to keep the ball in front and letting the clock run, being up by 10.
Not yet in reasonable field goal range for Christopher Dunn. They could get to field goal range without making the first down. Need to go all the way to the 26. And it's an inaccurate throw. Again, looking for who else? Thayer Thomas. Eric Carter knocked him down, and that's costly because now it's 4th and 13, and you really can't try a field goal from here.
Leary led his receiver Thomas right into Carter. If he would have allowed Thomas just to turn, it's a first down, but the ball led him into Carter, who hit the receiver. No chance at all there.
Fourth down.
This has been his guy all night.
Leary needs something special. The snap is bobbled, and the Tigers will take over. Promising drive fizzles. Self-destructive finish to it, and Clemson up 10. Midway fourth quarter's got the football back.
Boy, you just don't expect that. Here's Henry fired up, Dabo fired up. Gibson snaps this ball. It's the leader. It's the 4-year starter. No one moves. Ball is snapped. Watch everybody, including the line doesn't move. That tells you that he snapped it early. So was it the quarterback in this case? He's lucky to try to catch the ball, but the ball just gets to him early before he or the rest of the offense is ready, and just some mental lapse here by the veteran Gibson.
We talked before the show about the emotions of Gibson. Again, his grandfather, the first black student at Clemson. His grandmother was the second. He felt powerful emotions coming back here. Stepping on the campus was a special night for him, but it's been a tough night for that veteran center and the entire offensive line as catches made by Davis Allen. The Tigers not trying to just sit in this lead.
I was going to say, I like that. I like that aggressive mindset, up 10. You know, North Carolina State, this defense, they're going to think run, 1st and 10, all the emotions. Of course, they're going to work the clock and instead pull it away, throw play action to Davis Allen, your most reliable receiver. Maybe now you can go into a mode of working the clock, but a great play call there on 1st and 10 on this drive.
8 combined catches by the two Tigers tight ends tonight. Powering forward is Phil Maffa. He's a load when the defense is beginning to get worn down and deflated, trying to bring this guy to the ground.
Yeah, that goes back to the rotation of Shipley and Pace and Maffa. Just Shipley carries the bulk of the load, but you're seeing Maffa giving him a spell from time to time. And this NC State defense has played a lot of football and shown a lot of heart, but starting to wear down a bit, looking at that scoreboard and that clock.
This is a Clemson football team responding the way that Dabo Swinney hoped they would. The challenge of an opponent they respect and one that beat him a year ago. Uiagalelei has run often tonight, slammed down 2 yards short. It'll be 3rd down. Holly?
Well, Dabo Swinney was actually really pleased with his team. He said, we had the best of both worlds last week. We did win in double overtime against Wake, but we played so poor on defense that everybody felt like we'd lost. He had his entire defense's attention all week long. Super spirited practices, more attention to detail. And guys, they're just putting on a clinic right now, particularly up front. 30 rushing yards allowed. They are sky high over here on the sideline, congratulating each other, telling each other, this is what we are, this is what we can be. This defense is starting to find some mojo, particularly up front, and they're feeding on it right now.
Job's not quite done, but I get your point, Holly. They've been typical Clemson, responding, even though they don't have Brzee. They don't have, you know, guys like, he's right there. They're in the orange, right there, up at his buddy's out. And they don't have Xavier Thomas. What did Dabo say? 6 out of the last 30 games, he's actually had the main 3 defensive pieces in play together. 6 out of 30.
Yeah.
Again, the booth, Tom Zamorski upstairs has buzzed it down to take a look at this play for targeting. They hit Uiagalelei. Was that NC State tackler who came in from the near side? They couldn't catch a number.
It looked like Pitts, 24.
Pitts has been flagged for pass interference a couple times. Yeah, that is helmet right on the side of the head. Let's get Bill LeMonnier involved again.
Well, he's got the crown of the helmet down. He comes in, leads with that, hits the quarterback or the runner right in the head.
Yeah, he's going to be thrown out.
Consistent with the other one, this will be a targeting call.
Yeah.
Well, that is a tough situation, Kirk. You were there Thursday night when Tua Tagovailoa got slammed down, and that was a direct shot to the head. Then DJ hit the ground hard there.
Yes.
Thankfully, he's okay.
Yep.
But a tough night for Pitts. Guy was with defensive coordinator Tony Gibson at West Virginia, then went to Marshall and transferred in.
Can't tell you the difference between this offense and last year's offense. when they didn't get a whole lot going in Raleigh, but the entire year, Clemson just seemed to just be limping through the year as an offense.
Review, personal foul, targeting, defense, number 24, front of the helmet, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Number 24 is disqualified.
He'll miss, by the way, the first half of next week's game against Florida State at home, Kirk.
Yeah.
Your point, though?
Yeah, I just now that he's running, now that he's showing a willingness to be aggressive within the run game. I mean, 11 carries tonight, 62 yards. It just changes the dynamic of the defenses that are going to be ready to try to defend this offense and what they can do, because it just opens up different aspects within the offensive structure. They didn't have this last year. So they've been talking a lot about how much he's improved as a passer after the game last week against Wake Forest, where he threw the 5 touchdown passes. But to me, it's what he's doing within the running game and how assertive and aggressive and decisive he's been within that offensive structure is, to me, what's changed from last year to this year.
Big time, I agree. And he's avoided the mistake. Still just has 1 interception on the season. This is a big game performance. You're going to see him run the ball when Clemson is challenged on offense.
Oh, yeah.
It's been the pattern at Clemson for years with their quarterbacks.
Should also mention this offensive line. Not always the strongest unit for this Clemson team, but tonight, with a true freshman at right tackle, this unit has played incredibly well against a very experienced defensive front 7.
Maffa's going to be, no, he actually fooled me. It was the keeper there. Isaiah Moore knocks him down. Kevin?
Chris got an update. Back to Mizzou. Number 1 Georgia down 3. Stetson Bennett has time. The Dominic Blaylock, the laser, that gets the Dogs in the red zone. A few plays later, Dejon Edwards powering through for the score. First lead of the night for Georgia. They would hold on to win 26-22. LSU now 4-1 on the Plains. They beat Auburn 21-17.
That took him 56 minutes, Kevin, to take the lead in Columbia. And it's a 4-point win for Kirby Smart's team.
Survive and advance on the road, right?
2-back look. Uiagalelei rolls, and Shipley was well covered, just threw it over his head.
This goes to show you in college football, you look at these games, we see it every year. It's just, okay, they're going to win, they're going to win. Easy, easy, easy. Anytime you go on the road in college football with emotions and you're heavily favorite, you hear all week on social media, all your friends, everybody's telling you how easy it's going to be. You get so many pats on the back. As Nick Saban says, it's rat poison, but it does impact 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They let their guard down, bring their C+, B- game. The other team's playing their Super Bowl, trying to make their season. Things like that happen.
Maffa breaking tackles. First down, lowers the shoulder, delivers a blow to the man, and has a 1st and goal. Sean Smith stopped him eventually.
Isaiah Moore blitzes, see him right there, takes himself right out of the picture, and then it's just toughness. Good, strong run, breaking away from Drake Thomas. Goes back to your point, Chris, about being able to stay fresh, rotating Shipley, Pace, and Maffa. Runs right through that would-be arm tackle.
Talk about the road. Tigers are going to go on the road for 3 of the next 4. BC is next. Then a trip to Tallahassee. The Noles have shown life. Well, they lost today, and then eventually to Notre Dame. Then they finish up with 3 home games here. But hitting the road, your point, that's what Clemson's going to have to do in the next month.
I mean, think about this. They beat a good Wake team, but I just mean the energy of how they played last week to this week defensively.
Sure.
Different team, right? And you go on the road, you don't have this crowd. You don't have all this energy. And that's when you become vulnerable. It could be anybody. It could be Georgia. It could be Alabama. It could be Ohio State, Clemson.
Clemson continues to be super efficient in the red zone, and the defense keeps the Wolfpack out of the end zone ever since that second quarter. Just 1 touchdown drive for NC State. They'll do a field goal after halftime. Realize, Kirk, exactly 100 days until CFP National Championship game. Beautiful SoFi Stadium in Englewood, California. Clemson expected to rebound and certainly contend for a playoff spot after missing out last year. Trying to add to the lead here. 3:15 to go. Maffa smacked right at the line and driven back. Clemson, of course, with 6 CFP appearances. Only Alabama has more national titles in 2016 and 2018. I think the Sooners, safe to say, they're not going to add to that total of 4. But Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State all looking pretty good out of the Big Ten East. Of course, Georgia we saw surviving tonight. So power in the Big Ten, the SEC, and Clemson is at the top of the standings, it looks like right now.
Yeah, and it's so early in the year. You just never know what might happen.
You kind of know.
You know, it seems like that the last 7 years. I mean, you know, you think Ohio State, they still have Michigan. And then we just talked about any week you could lose when you go on the road. Ohio State is on the road at a place like Penn State, which would be interesting for them. I think Clemson made a statement today after the game against Wake Forest. I think they were on the fringe. People wanted to see more from their offense, wanted to see their defense. They could get back to being a dominating unit because after last week, they gave up all those touchdown passes. The secondary looked vulnerable. Man, they came out tonight, served themselves up front, great coverage on the outside. Gets a really good quarterback. I mean, tonight he hasn't had a lot of help, but I think it's more about what Clemson's done defensively than what Devin Leary's not been able to do.
224 yards. That's all the Wolfpack have been able to muster against that Tigers defense. 3rd and goal. Fake it to Maffa. Uyunglele gets around the corner, and he'll just cruise into the end zone. And Clemson punctuates an impressive payback victory over the Wolfpack. 2nd rushing touchdown for Uyunglele. He's thrown for 1. Complete package. Dabo Swinney told us he'd be shocked if DJ didn't step up and continue his role. You know, that was a question because this is by far the best defense they've played this season, but quarterback continues to build on his positive start to this season. And his confidence will only grow out of this game. 73 rushing yards tonight is a career high. May not run him this much at BC next week or in every game, but when they need that component of their offense, he's so capable and willing to do it.
Which he was not a year ago at all. Non-factor in the run game. And now, not just NC State, but everybody that plays them down the road, they are loading up the line of scrimmage with 8, 9 guys. Watch the end man, Wilson, the defensive end. He collapses down, giving Uyunglele a chance to get outside. And because they played man coverage, there's nobody left. So it was up to number 11, Peyton Wilson, to try to save the day, but he bit just enough on that play fake. Just love to see him run the football in this offense, and so does that guy right there.
Dabo with a nice hug for his quarterback. We talked a lot about, you know, adversity and things he went through last year, and you know, DJ would tell you some of that was up to him. Didn't play the way he wanted to.
Yeah, but I think, you know, sometimes quarterbacks get too much credit, sometimes they get too much blame. I think his humility through it has been impressive. You know, you talk to any of his teammates, they talk about how he handled himself throughout that. And I think you got to give Dabo Swinney a lot of credit for sticking in the corner. You know, you've got so much talk about Klubnik, Cade Klubnik, the true freshman. When he showed up, everybody wanted him to go in. Dabo stuck to his guns and waited for the big guy, Uyunglele, to show what he could do, and he has.
You are following a guy, by the way, who was 34-2 as a starter at Clemson. Is the school's first ever #1 overall draft
pretty good
pick.
ball player.
11 o'clock Eastern over the ACC Network. The Huddle. Crew's going to be up in Pittsburgh after the Ramblin' Wreck Panthers game. Complete wrap-up of this game and the whole day in the ACC. Another eventful day in this conference. ESPN app also has it. I think Dave Doeren will come away disappointed in what his offense was unable to do tonight. A lot of underneath throws like that, but again, they could never get Jordan Houston going. They couldn't win the battle up front. They got dominated by Clemson's front.
Yeah, and again, I think Dave Doeren, he told us even in our call, so did offensive coordinator Tim Beck, that they've got to see some other receivers develop. I mean, it's tough. I mean, when you're just throwing the ball for the most part to Thayer Thomas and you can't run the ball because you can't control the line of scrimmage, it makes it really hard when you look down at your Tim Beck and try to call the next play. They ran for 30 yards tonight. 30. Threw for 198. And a majority of those going to Thomas.
The 30 factors in the 3 sacks, but even if you don't think about the sacks, the running backs had 42 total yards. That's it. It's Thomas again, the one weapon underneath. I check it, it's Houston out of the backfield, and it's a first down gain across the 35. Red River, noon Eastern time on Saturday. Texas got a W. Oklahoma reeling after a loss. Leary escapes and incomplete over the head of Thomas.
And that play right there kind of sums up tonight the numbers that you just talked about. They've been getting home without blitzing. I mean, think about this. They're rushing KJ Henry and the rest of this defensive line. They'll twist a little bit, and this offensive line gets many times overwhelmed. Leary, he drops back and he has to get out of there. The pocket's collapsing and they're not even blitzing.
Ooh, could have been intercepted if only Barrett Carter had turned around. He was sprinting out to the flat. It actually bounced off his back.
Just remember number 0 and that name, Barrett Carter, 6'1", 225. Incredibly talented young player that's only going to get better. Instincts. He could play corner, safety, linebacker, nickel, play anything.
Never leaves the field. He's played snaps on this defense.
Right now he's flexed out.
3rd and 10, and it's incomplete. Another drop, intercepted. She bounced off the hands of the receiver, and Keith McGuire has got it. There's a flag down, so hold everything.
What a play by McGuire.
Drops have been another problem with this NC State offense.
They're going to get Murphy on the quarterback.
Defense, number 32. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So they'll negate the pick.
What an effort here. You said tip pass, missed opportunity through the hands, and look how he gets a hand under it, and then he turns the shoulder to protect the ball.
That's a pretty agile
That's a
play.
great play. And then this is what happened back in the backfield. I mean, yeah, I think there was a little bit of a sales job there by the quarterback. Nudged him.
Negates the interception. Leary able to get away, directing traffic. He wants to heave it deep, and it's way over the head into the end zone. Julian Gray was the guy down there. 3rd down coming up. Talk about a response tonight. You know, NC State went down the field and took a lead 10-6. Halftime was approaching. Clemson drive was impressive, and 24-3 edge with the Tigers after they fell behind tonight for the first time. Defensive holding is the call.
Yeah, have responded well. NC State still battling here, Chris. They're minute 29.
Long way to go in this season for them. I mean, this is a loss that's obviously a deflator. They got Florida State at home next week at Syracuse. And they have 3 more ACC home games down the stretch. Leary ducks under the pressure, checks it down. Sumo Kongbe takes a hit. Looked like going down there was Tiger defender. And Sharon Koval, freshman safety, pressed into duty because Mickens got injured early. Certainly hope this isn't anything serious. It has been some real attrition on that side of the football for the Tigers. They played well as a group tonight. Guys pressed into duty that aren't used to having to step up. He's one of them right there.
Yep.
Part of the very, very talented recruiting classes, but you ideally want to get guys in the program, develop them, get some experience, and not ask them to go out there and cover guys in a top 10 matchup.
They've held their own.
They have. Jaden Lucas has been out there playing. Koval in.
Pride.
Wilkins, Pride. Toriano Pride has played tonight. 3 true freshmen. Looks like he's okay. A long throw, far side. Jones makes the catch and is knocked down. It'll be 1st and goal. We head inside the final minute here. Wolfpack playing for Pride here at the moment. Here he takes off and he'll score standing up.
Quarterback draw. Leary not known for his feet, but with the defense backing out, takes an easy touchdown there for the Wolfpack.
First touchdown since the second quarter, 75-yard drive, and it's a 10-point game in the final minute. To Kevin.
Chris, we got some Pac-12 after dark over on ESPN. Number 6 USC hosting Arizona State. Caleb Williams touchdown on the ground, and then that nice adjustment finding Mario Williams. They're up 14-7 against Arizona State. Back to you guys.
Bring in the bear to see if you found that touchdown significant. It is some. It's not over, but it's over, as they say. 53 seconds to go. A lot of layers to this stuff.
Man, is there ever.
Now these Clemson faithful will end a day that began with College Game Day's 8th visit to this campus. Celebratory. Christian Wilkins coming back as your guest picker. I said a nice best wishes to our buddy Lee Corso. Couldn't make the show today. Something didn't feel right in the morning. Got some tests. He's in good spirits. He was watching games this afternoon.
Yeah.
Making jokes, but certainly wish him safe home and good health. Look forward to seeing him soon.
Absolutely. You know, you were on that show for so many years and helped build it to what it is today. I've been sitting there for 27 years next to him, and yeah, it was a different ride this morning, especially the last segment. You know, where you're used to having the headgear and all the fun, and you know, we obviously been in touch with him throughout the day, and look forward to seeing him getting back and feeling good.
Yeah, he had a test, got back, and what's going on? Oklahoma State, Baylor. He was watching all the different games this afternoon. Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't expect anything less. You got that kind of passion for the sport.
Yep.
Clemson was his pick today, so you got to give him the headgear count. It was in absentia, but he did pick Clemson. Victory formation for DJ Uiagalelei, and a very, very satisfying performance for the quarterback. Took care of the football. No big downfield plays like we're used to seeing him make, but some strong running. Ran for a couple of touchdowns.
The other number 5 had if you're going to give a game ball out, give it to both number 5s. KJ Henry is healthy and a lot to deal with on the edge of this defense. I'm happy for Dabo Swinney. Not only a win, quarterbacks playing well, and the defense, I think, got their mojo back after last week.
Streak stands now to 37 consecutive home wins. It ties the ACC record. Bobby Bowden's Florida State team, some 95-01. And look out, they got their sights set on Oklahoma next with 39 in a row. And the all-time record, Nebraska, very reachable. They stormed the field here.
They did.
Top 10 game.
I don't think I've ever seen this. All the years, maybe the Notre Dame game that you showed earlier, but they're fired up.
Came charging down the hill where the team made their entrance a few hours ago. And party at midfield. Pretty complete. We talked about Clemson being challenged, falling behind, and then responding. It's a different looking team. You know, we've seen when Deshaun Watson was here, when Trevor Lawrence was here, was just explosive playmakers sort of all over the field. You had Travis Etienne who could, score from 80 yards every time he touched the ball. So it's a little different feel. What hasn't really changed, even though Brent Venables leaves, is this defense is sturdy and rugged and deep. And these parties have been going on for a few years here.
Look at this. Got a light show going, a little laser show, lights going. All new here.
Now they celebrate the victories. Dabo Swinney believes in that. It's not just, hey, sigh of relief, we were supposed to win, we got through it. No, these are the moments that you work for, and he'll have a good time with these team and these students celebrating this one.
Well, they were, I think, concerned after last week's game against Wake Forest that they won. And like Dabo said, Holly mentioned it, it's great when you can learn from a win. It scares you. You get their attention, and man, did he get their attention this week. Played a better team, at least defensively, and really made a statement.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with this team being the class of the ACC once again. What do you see, bigger picture going forward? Clemson's going to have a high ranking. Do you think they belong where they are with the elite teams in the country, the Georgias, the Bamas, Ohio State, Michigan has looked great so far?
I think they're right there. Yeah, I mean, after tonight's performance, especially with the way Uiagalelei is playing right now, I think their offense is different. I think they have great receivers. I only think they're going to get better, actually, offensively. I was concerned about their defense, especially on the perimeter, the corners, after the way they played against Sam Hartman. But, man, they stepped up. The defensive line was dominant, absolutely, with the athletic ability they have. If they keep coming together, they're going to be a tough team to beat, not just in the ACC, may have a shot to throw their hat in the ring in a playoff.
Brzee should be back soon, if not next week, and they get the pieces back healthy on this defense. They'll only get more dominant up front. The Tigers meet the challenge and knock off the Wolfpack in this top 10 matchup. This is Wes Goodman, the defensive coordinator. High fives all around. 30-20 is the final. Game was produced by Bill Bonnell, directed by Derek Mobley. Terrific job by those guys and our entire crew tonight. Arizona State and USC still playing over on ESPN, except on the West Coast. Stay tuned for your local news. So long from Death Valley. Tigers win it by 10.